St. John River here in Fredericton as we narrow it down to the Final Four. But for some it'll be a bridge too far. They both know what it takes to win a Brier. Now these two skips want the money here in the Maritimes. Finally, 4 is the charm for Brendan Botcher. Bubble Brier champ Brendan Botcher has made wholesale changes to his team. The new look foursome, they clicked in the Sweet 16s. It's status quo for Colton Flasch. His team, one of the very few that stayed intact. On Wednesday, Flasch was fantastic with a draw to the button. A win today will get you $6,000. Flasch, Botcher, the PointsBet Invitational continues. And all of it happening here at Willy O'Ree Place in Fredericton. Right through the 2 finals on Sunday. Win it all. Win your 4 games. You win $50,000. This afternoon we got down to the Final Four in the women's side, and it was the number 6 team Casey Scheidegger. But remember now, Christy Moore is throwing the skip stones against number 3 Rachel Holman. This one goes to the extra. We're not playing extra ends. Holman's draw, well, she barely got it across the hog line. Moore puts it at the back of the 8. That was for the win, and so she is through without the skipper. Caitlin Laws is a winner. So is Carrie Anderson, number 1 seed, and Jennifer Jones. So yes, these are the 4 teams remaining, and they will play Anderson against Jones, Scheidegger against Laws to narrow it down to the final. And on this Friday afternoon, we say hello, Canada. Welcome back to Fredericton. Kathy and Russ alongside. So your thoughts on the Final Four on the women's side?
Well, they're pretty good. I think some may be surprised by Casey Scheidegger's team just because it's being skipped by Christy Moore, but great chemistry with her and Kate Hogan. Kate stepped up big today, not only in shot making, but forcing Rachel Holman to a very tough shot. So
we're down now to the Elite 8 in men's play. Let's bring you up to date on what happened last night as we did narrow down the field. Kevin Cooey looked very impressive, as did Brad Gushue. Reed Carruthers in the Battle of Manitoba, and John Epping beats Mike McEwen. So this is the men's bracket, the 8 teams that remain. Gushue will play Epping, Carruthers Cooey, Howard Dunstone, and our feature is Flasch against Botcher. And it's interesting to note here that in fact it is the top 8. Brendan Botcher, as we said, wholesale change. Brand new team for him, and it is time to meet the teams. Brought to you by Home Hardware. Here's how. What kind of a team has he built?
On paper, could be the best team in Canada, no question about it. They're 7-0 so far this year, but look at the squad. Like, who's going to be better than Ben Hebert at lead? Who's going to be better than Gallant at second? Mark Kennedy, we talk about him year after year after year, probably the best ever and a great team player. So who's your weak link? Botcher? 4 times in a row he skipped his team to the Canadian Championship and won one of them.
Then you've got Colton Flasch, and they are only getting to know each other a little bit more.
Well, they have. This team has been together for a year and a half. Colton says they have the best chemistry, maybe other than Glenn Howard, because they're not feeling each other out. They know each other. The challenge the first game is the broom was not in the right spot. They did not have feel. They were fortunate to win that draw to the button. They need to be better.
So from Elite 8 down to the Final Four, and those advancing will also pocket $6,000 for the win.
Flasch, his final stone.
Wow! Look at that.
Oh my goodness, what a run back shot, and stick it to boot.
Clean. Clean. Whoa. Whoa.
Yellow on the yellow on the yellow. Hopefully save the red. There it is, tap, tap.
Good shot.
Oh, and that'll do. Goodness, what an end.
The 2022 PointsBet Invitational is brought to you in part by PointsBet, proud partner of Curling Canada, by BKT Tires and OK Tire, by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of Curling Canada, and by New Holland, proud sponsor of Curling Canada.
It is Brendan Botcher and his team from the Glencoe Club in Calgary against Colton Flasch from the Sutherland Curling Club in Saskatoon. As we narrow the field from 8 down to 4. Our game is being played on sheet A. Right beside him, it'll be Brad Gushue, seeded number 1 against the 8th seed John Epping and his team. Wholesale changes there too. Matt Dunstone against Glenn Howard out of the Penetanguishene Curling Club. Of course, no changes there. Kevin Cooey, entirely new team for him, also from the Glencoe against Reed Carruthers and his team from Morris, Manitoba. So those are the Elite 8. You pick up the win here, you pick up $6,000, and then you move on to play in the Final 4. Pick up a win there, that's an additional $12,000. Ultimately, the winner of it all takes home $50,000. And it is Brendan Botcher that does have the last rock. He has the hammer, playing the Red Stones. And settling in to get us underway, one of the Marsh brothers. It's nice to be able to just say Marsh because you know you're right.
Yeah.
This is Daniel Marsh.
Yeah, it's dangerous to go with the first names, isn't it?
It is.
Yep. Nice and tight. Line's good. Play the weight.
Oh boy. Shot.
Every time we see this team Flash, they get that little wee bit better. They've got a third. Didn't qualify in one spiel, but they've got 3 under their belt already, which could pay dividends.
So after 8 years
Easy
with
early.
Kevin Cooey,
I got a hair light. Top 8. Line's close. Top 8. Go ahead.
Ben Hebert now with Brendan Botcher.
Line good. Wait good. Hard. Line good.
And one of the things that Brendan said before the event is that with the depth of talent on this team, he said when we practiced the first time, it could have been easy for any of the players to say, well, I want a little bit more, I want a little bit less. But he said they all throw the same way, and they're all adjusting so that Brendan knows exactly what his rocks will do.
Whatever you like.
Let's take a look at the keys to the game, and we will start with Colton Flasch.
Well, the third has to be first, and Catlin Schneider, I mean, the third for Flash, he's up against Kennedy. If he can just stay close even, you know, within 5-10%, that'll help their chances a lot. And double trouble, we just talked about the Marsh brothers. Their goal is to neutralize Hebert and Glenn. It's all about controlling the front, control that scoring area to give their skip a chance.
And right away, forced to play the run back. Got it, and leaves the shooter there. Rolls the run back stone, stays in the top 12. Shooter rolls over to cover the edge of the 4. And now for Team Botcher.
Kennedy is key. He's the key in every team he's been on. He's been on a lot of teams. He's been on a lot of winning teams. And I think in this particular case, he'll be the buffer between Botcher and a guy like Ben Hebert and Gallant. So keeping law and order with this team and score 4 points. Believe it or not, they played 7 games as a team this year. They're 7-0. They've held their opposition to 2.5 points against. So they only really have to score 3 or 4.
And trying to roll it up and over and underneath. We'll tuck a little bit. Here's Ben Hebert. Keys to the game are brought to you by Cashmere Bathroom Tissue. Nothing feels like cashmere.
That's stunning, Russ. Back in the day, it was, I think, 7 points for men, 8 for women. If you could get there, that was almost a guaranteed win. But when you think you only have to score 3 points to beat your opponents because your defense is so good.
Yeah, exactly.
That is something else.
I've always thought Brendan plays the odds. He plays defensively. He doesn't take chances, and you only take chances when you have to. Well, with those 3 guys in front of him, you might not have to take too many chances.
For sure.
Yep. Wait's good. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yep.
Great shot. Nice weight.
If I was betting over and under this particular game, it would be a low score.
I can see it curling, right?
This Team Flash doesn't miss many either.
Come on, guys. Yep.
So after all those years with Brad Gushue, the 4 Briars, the gold medal, the world gold, Brett Gallant now finds himself living in Alberta, just outside of Calgary, and Newly married, of course, to Jocelyn Peterman, so we offer him a belated congratulations. It's interesting, Botcher also talking to us, and we truly enjoy talking with Brendan because he is a little cerebral and he thinks about everything that you are talking about. And he said, you know, you think you know players after playing with them all these years or against them, but you really don't know them until you play with them. And he said, I just have this utmost respect for all these players.
Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%. And yeah, you're playing against, especially when you're that good, you're playing against your maybe your provincial rival or whatever it is in a bonspiel, and you know, you just don't have the same take as you do when you're running around together on the circuit.
And one of the things that he said is that when you compete against somebody, they show you the personality or the side of themselves that they want you to see, whether that's extremely self-confident or how they strut. But he's gotten to know these personalities and been really delighted with what he's seen.
Top four. Top four.
A little unforced error there.
Here, it might come off for weight a bit, but
I mean, even if we're just top 12, it's pretty good.
yeah, exactly.
What do we think here?
I still think 14 or something like that.
Coming
Kind of scary in the first round to take inside middle of the rock.
I like the broom.
Okay. I had you just outside edge, but it probably was too much ice.
Okay.
All things considered.
Okay. I think we're running decent.
I liked it. Little heavy, maybe.
Top eight.
Top good. Room! Too much room!
Top four.
Too much room!
We saw those great numbers for Catlin. When we spoke with Colton before the game, he owned a lot of the first game. He felt that he did not have the broom in the right spot. Often they struggled to read paths a lot and struggled with draw weight as well. So when you see 80% by that third, given that that's your key matchup, Russ, it's not that Catlin has to throw better, it's that sometimes he needs the broom maybe in a bit of a different spot.
Sure. Yeah, I've often said the skip can ruin everybody's game by just not getting that thing in the right spot. And there's a few little tricks out here. And he got the right ice or the speed right there, but again, maybe too much ice. I think everybody thought that would hit some crispy pebble and die and curl, and it just didn't.
It's good. Clean. Good board.
Clean. Yep. Whoa. Clean. Yep.
Mark Kennedy is first, as we do play here in the first. Botcher with a hammer.
Big roll, big roll.
Come on, man.
And we'll roll it away from
Very
that
good, Mark.
corner.
Very good. Sweep, guys. Feel like control.
Sure.
Board.
Yeah, heavy board.
Tried to roll it away from that guard as much as possible. So Catlin's going to try to roll it right back.
Weight's good. Weight's good.
Yep, yep, yep.
Weight's good.
Yep.
Clean,
Clean.
Clean.
clean,
Clean.
clean.
Whoa.
Yeah, roll it a bit, roll it a bit.
Yep.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
Roll it.
And he just played it the other way, actually.
Sit.
Yeah. I don't-
Well, I was already rolling.
Yep.
So.
And it
Nice
does
try,
settle
that's fine.
back edge of the 12.
Okay. It'll stick here.
Yeah.
They have found a little bit undercover.
14.
Yeah, I got 14-1 on Cats. There was T-line kind of in a fresh spot.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like a
should be close.
13-7.
No, well, I think,
In that range.
yeah.
I like that.
Just a positive draw.
Yeah, I like that, Mark.
Top button or top
Yeah,
four?
Top T, top T.
It's a big shot because it's a force to one if they don't find a way to get two now that that rock's buried.
Line's good.
Pretty big ad, Benny.
Okay.
Top four right now.
Easy. Easy for line.
Back four.
It's good. Line's good.
Thought he may have added
Gotta curl
just
a
a
bit.
little bit.
It's got to curl a bit. Well, we're all there. All there, buddy. Line's good.
Gallant.
To it.
Line's good. Small bump.
Right to it.
Oh, look at that. Didn't finish, did it?
It did not. Rick.
Wow.
That's shocking.
Toss. Yeah, well, good toss, Mark.
So we started with 16 teams, men, 16 women. Trying to narrow it down now to the final four. Play minimum of 8. You get 290 second timeouts. This is the big difference. Still get 38 minutes thinking time. But 19 first half, 19 second. You cannot carry over unused time. And ultimately $50,000 goes to the winner. Win 4 straight games.
Ask the boys think to be a little fresh, but I think Hack's fine.
That was obvious. I mean, sometimes it's subtle and you don't see it, but that rock just seemed to straighten right up.
Yeah, it's shade heavy, but nothing to make that big a difference. It might be a little high in the corners to get the ice shape to the center a little bit. So a little bit less curl inside out, but it had to be fresh pebble there, and that usually makes it curl.
Yep.
Solid Hack.
Whoa, then.
Yep.
Hack.
Hack. Weight's good. Weight's good. Whoa.
Yep.
Weight's good.
68%.
Clean. Clean up.
Weight's good. Whoa.
Whoa. Clean.
Was the
Clean,
lowest
yep.
percentage of all the teams that advanced. But of course, he made the shot that mattered most, and that was in that extra, the draw to the butt.
Okay. Good.
Want to roll a little farther.
Out turn with. Hey, I don't think we're rolling over it.
Probably should have just went for nose, I guess. After.
2/3, yeah.
Hit and roll over and sit on the corner.
Yeah, you might as well, or make the double.
2/3.
It's good and it's bad because there's a good chance Flasch will come around that red one and freeze in there, and then you're forced to a single. But it's worth the effort for sure.
Right there.
You might even be able to make the double and roll right out, and then Flasch has got to make a real good one.
Yep. We saw his.
All these teams are strategizing, assuming there's a make, not a miss.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Close, Brett. Hard. Yep. Hard. Whoa. Whoa. Yes. Hard. Hard, Brett. Straight to it. Hard. Hard, 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 hard.
Staying with it, Gallant coming over and bangs it. And he actually gears up and a little bit more underneath.
Very nice.
Good.
You know, I try to tell people that. You know, and that's why when you first joined us, and we talked about strategy, and you were thinking still as a skip on the ice, and you're going 3 and 4 shots ahead.
Right.
And then, you know, we had this conversation. You know, people are watching.
It's
one shot at a time. But you're right. You, as a skip, figure that what you've left, the other team's going to make.
Yeah.
Then you suddenly have to, if they miss, that's when you truly become a skip because you change.
Right, and
gears.
And they're trying to bank a little time. Like they kind of know. I heard Catlin say, "Oh, we already know what this draw is going to do." That was before Botcher made the double. But you know that speeds things up a little bit. And when you're on a clock like this, you know, every few seconds helps.
But it is I'm still to this day amazed. You think that he's going to make it. And now I'm thinking that far ahead.
Yes, exactly.
Back team, back 4.
Lots of room. Line's good. Line's really good.
Take a look. Take a look.
Go ahead. Line's really nice.
A little lighter than Mark's. Should curl in there this time.
Hard, you really got to go. Really have to go. As far as you can get it.
Daniel and Kevin.
Come on. Go. Hard. Keep going.
And they'll drag it there, but he's got a little chip to sit too.
It's there.
I think I like this.
Okay.
I like that same weight.
Okay.
Interesting.
Run the
Yeah, he's going to play the little run.
I think I'd opt the other one, the soft weight.
And push it to the side.
Yeah. It's a little trickier, and you haven't been out this far, but he throws it so straight, he throws it so hard with lots of rotation. They're going to be close, but you could see a steal out of this. This under curls, hits the right half of the yellow, goes straight back on the red.
I wonder if Colton Flasch may be a little surprised by this.
It's makeable, but tough.
Yep. Hard. Clean. Hard. Straight. Straight. Whoa.
So he made the most of all his last rocks, scoring at least 2 with them. And he'll do the same here. So 2 it is. Another conversion for Brendan Botcher. He opens up with a couple, trying to make the Final 4. We're in Fredericton on this Friday afternoon, and it's the men's Elite 8. Number 2 seed, Brendan Botcher. after all those years in playing out of Edmonton. Now changes, and interestingly enough, out of the same curling club, the Glenclo in Calgary, as is Kevin Cooey. And he has a 2-0 lead. Colton Flasch from the Sutherland Curling Club, Saskatoon, with the Hammer playing the Yellowstones here in 2.
Okay, back 8.
Weight's good.
Back 4, back 8.
Weight's good.
Back 8. Back 4, back 8.
Yep.
Back 8.
Hard.
Back 8.
Whoa.
Back 12.
Curl.
Back 12.
Curl. Curl, curl, curl.
Nice shot.
Might as well go, yeah.
Good throw, Dan.
Good job, Dan. Good weight.
Kind of right in the middle. Do you like that?
Sure. Just missing a hair. Just missing a sliver.
I'm good with throwing hack if you like it.
Okay. Just like this? Sure, bud.
Boy, that's tricky.
I think it's going to be nice through here.
It's close. What do you think, Max? Yes.
Clean.
Hack.
Clean. Whoa.
Yep.
Hack.
Whoa.
Yep.
Clean.
Whoa.
Clean. Clean. Yep.
Whoa.
Whoa. Yep. Yep. Hard.
Caught it by, sure does. Oh, well
Very
judged.
good.
And gets
Great job.
underneath, avoids the jam.
Wait.
Oh, man. Second end, down a fresh path. Get the, Botcher got the broom in the right spot, number 1, and then no mistake by Gallant.
But he added to the confidence by saying, I think it's going to run well
Yes,
down here.
yes.
Right? I think it's going to be fine, so you just throw it. But listen, they're together again. Kennedy and Hebert go back to their Kevin Martin, right, in those
That's
days.
right.
And,
Yeah, that worked out pretty good.
yeah, gold medal. And
Beauty.
Kev.
Shot.
Kathy, that was a big part of this too, right? We know that
Throw, Kev.
we know what Ben Hebert brings to any team. But we know too that he can get a little bit, rambunctious would be one word. Little, and we remember heard Kevin Cooey say, Benny, it's okay, Benny. And the thought is maybe now that with Mark back on the team, Ben will be just a little bit quieter.
And also, Brendan said that the 3 of them, Mark, Brett, and himself, are very calm, quiet guys. And sometimes he said you need a spark.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't manufacture that. Ben brings that naturally.
Right. No doubt. But I would venture to say that one of the happiest guys on that team, on that ice, is Ben Hebert, as he's back with Mark Kennedy.
Yeah, no question.
Where are you? Something.
Easy, then. Easy.
Let me have a look.
Weight's
Clean
good
it,
here.
Ben. Top 4.
Wow. Easy.
Oh, we can't sweep this. Clean it.
Line's good. Line's good. You're by the guard.
We're full clean. Just clean.
Just a here.
Just clean. Whoa.
Good judge, guys. Very good.
Sorry,
Nice
Bottcher,
shot.
I was a little soft on that.
That's okay. 14-9. Stood good.
Yeah, I mean, so going to your point,
Either that or the stuff.
how can this not be, on paper anyway, the best team right now in Canada?
What?
You know, I was super impressed with the guys. You know, we came from four other teams, but 4 other elite teams. And it would have been really easy for everyone to kind of say, you know, I throw it good, so how about we just move the broom around? And that hasn't been the experience I've had at all. Everyone, including myself, we've been open to learning. You know, we have a great coach in Paul who can help, you know, steer that ship too. And ultimately, I just think we're all in a great headspace. We're all working super hard.
All there. Dan, go ahead. Go ahead, Dan.
And that really is the key, that they're all on the same page to work hard. We look at this team, and as you say, on paper, it's hard to imagine that there could be a better team. Well, you go from Benny Hebert, from Olympic gold to world titles, and Brett Gallant. You see those, and don't even have the fact that he also was the winningest junior all time and a mixed double silver medalist. Mark Kennedy, well, what more can you say? And Brendan Botcher, you said earlier, Russ, if that's the weak link on your team is your skip, boy, it is going to be hard to beat this team if they have the chemistry that intangible that every team looks for.
Yeah, simplify it. 12 Brier titles, 5 world titles, 3 Olympic medals, 2 of which are gold.
Clean. Yep. Whoop. Clean.
Weight's good.
Yep. Hard. 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 Big roll. Big roll. Big roll.
Right on it.
Go,
Right on
go,
it.
go, go, go.
Oh, and hello there. Right over to the corner.
The weight was pretty close, Mark.
Very good, Mark.
Did you like the weight?
Thought maybe out of his mitt, maybe, but it,
Pierce.
when it hit, it looked like board.
When it hit.
Wasn't hack. We weren't hack.
Yeah.
Good shot.
Okay, thanks.
I was kind of going off your one last time.
Whatever you like.
Whatever you like.
I think I like this.
Okay, we can throw like board, and if it comes up to 3/4 high, and it's good.
Okay, well then I just like trying to nose it with back line.
Well, let's play it.
Okay,
It's not far off the difference.
what kind of weight do you want to throw then?
Well,
2
probably
options
board,
here.
right?
You can hit it at 1 o'clock, and the one that's frozen will go with yours, and you'll stay frozen. Or you can hit it at maybe 2 o'clock and roll behind the corner guard,
Oh, I think
leaving
I'm
the shot rock, but there's still rocks to come. 3 more
right.
after this one.
Yeah, that's good now.
I'll be like a heavy hack out of my hand with a nice ad.
Little soft.
Yep.
Little quiet.
Yep.
Quiet.
Hard.
Weight's good. Easy board.
Hard. Hard.
Hard.
Real hard.
Hard.
Easy board.
Right to it. Right to it. Right to it. Right to it. Hard. Hard. Hard.
Not quite. Just that 1 inch over curl.
Nice weight, buddy.
The nose are just a little high.
We had a blank between Guju and Epping, with Epping having the hammer.
The other thing
Howard
you can
gets
do
a
is
single
go normal here.
in the
Just roll a
first,
rock this way.
and Kevin Cooey with a steal of 1 against Reed Carruthers.
I love it. I love it.
I still think I kind of like this out turn though.
Sounds good.
Normal.
Okay, like it, Mark. Okay, 9.5.
Yeah.
Sliver roll. Just a little bit. That's good.
That's so important too. You know, again, left-hander. They
That's
can't
good.
quite be
Yeah.
used to the release yet for Botcher. So just let Mark have some
Clean. Yep.
ability to move that broom a little bit, make him feel more comfortable in the hack, if anything.
Little roll. Roll the foot. Roll the foot.
Very
Good
good.
shot, Mark.
You
Great
know,
weight. Nice throw.
you think about Mark Kennedy and the people that he and the players that he's been with. I mentioned Martin, then you go Cooey, Jacobs. He was an alternate with Brad Guju at the Olympics,
Saving a whole pile of rocks.
this last previous Olympics. That's the kind of player he is, the kind of person he is that other teams want him to be part of their 4.
Yeah, that was good.
Hair more, but pretty close. A little more.
Oh!
And really, Kathy, a kind of adaptable player to all situations, isn't he?
He is the ultimate chameleon. He can be whatever you need him to be.
Yeah, a little bit of a Gumby. Just you bend him, shape him any way you want to go.
Yeah, yeah. Almost replace it, eh? Oh, go.
My first thought was here.
Brett.
Back
button
that one
right here?
and set up a double, but or a rock they're freezing to. Otherwise, we're just putting it right on the button, tempting them to play a hit and roll.
Yep. Thicken this.
Is that good?
I'm good with that.
My first thought.
Probably the most margin of the shots, right?
We want to be full 4 here.
I think so.
Full 4, yeah.
You like that?
This is my preference.
I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Makes this roll really tough to get shot no matter
I'm
where
not-
you go.
You got it. Yeah.
You like that?
Just outside middle.
I just don't want to.
All right, Kathy, your first update after a blank in 1, John Epping, 8th seed with last rock, but there's a stone there just in front of Matt Cam, so it appears that it will be a draw against a couple.
You are correct, and it's a really tough draw against a couple. He needs to get to the button in order to score full 4, in order to narrow it down to only 1.
Speed looks really close. It's going to have to curl a little.
Jansen, Scott Chadwick, they're the new members of the team. Matt Cam moves from 2nd to the third position. Has he got enough of it?
It's Stroh.
Oh dear, have a look.
He does.
Hey, he does. What a great draw.
One yellow. That spot's fast.
One yellow it is. John Epping.
I thought I
Brilliant
threw that very
judgment by
hard.
the front end.
Like it was taking me every year's not to say. I think hard for weight. Go, Benny, keep going. Get the tee. Get the tee. Get the tee. Hard, guys. Go, 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 go. Okay, pretty good spot.
Pretty good botch.
Not bad.
Good scrub.
Do it really good.
Toss,
Feet down
So
a
that
little.
Epping team rebuilt with Brent Lang
Well, we might
and
not.
Fry leaving.
They're gonna have to put in a perfect
So he
place.
brought in Jansen. Really, Jansen returns to him
kinda like-
after
Okay, let's
about
time it up
4
and let's go.
years. And
Yeah, let's go.
Scott Chadwick,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to throw on my second one.
very nice.
Jansen impressed me at the Briar when he was thrown into that mix with Brendan Botcher at the last second. Played
I mean,
third.
this is the same thing. It's kind of tough
Played
to get
very
shot
well.
And be buried. You're gonna always be a little bit open with shot, probably, right?
Yeah, because you probably end up rolling to, you can roll to here, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you okay with not being shot rock?
Nose,
Or it's this, you try to nut it, and you can make that too.
You can make the roll. Like
You can
on
just
top.
dead nut it.
You like the roll?
Or,
Callan was saying the roll this way.
yeah, you won't get shot.
You won't get
That's
shot, but
But then he's got to make a freeze.
he's got to make a good freeze, yeah.
Yeah.
You got the 4 foot's open, so.
I mean, it doesn't
What do you
have,
like, Dan?
doesn't have to
Number
make that
4, Kevin Cooey. 5, Reed Carruthers. And it looks like Cooey's got a couple back edge of the button, top of the 4, running it back.
This is not without risk. You can see that lonely yellow stone that belongs to Reed. Kevin Cooey was short on his first, but made up for it on his second. He does lie shot. He's trying to run this back. Needs to make the double.
Running it back, bang, bang, drives it through. Uh-oh, and now is it 1 or 2?
Oh, it's 2 for sure.
Okay.
1 there, 2. That's the other one. That's what they're going to do. 2, it looks like. Steal at 2 for Cooey. That Carruthers team rebuilt, of course. Reed Carruthers taking over. And skipping now is added Jason Gunligson, who has moved on to the team. Derek Samogalski and Connor Negevin. Mike McEwen, of course, now curling out of Ontario.
Bad break there, Vic. Jason called for them to carve it over, and they did, and then overcurled by a smidgen and gave up the steal to 2.
Right off. Hard now. Hard now. Hard.
Hard.
Try and go the other way.
Hard.
Okay.
Tried to run double.
Really no. The only way we make that double hard is to get a rock like in here.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah, you're right.
Do you see anywhere else that makes it harder?
Not really.
Does it help us at all to tap at a rock?
Makes his in-off even easier. But if he hits it thin, he misses
Yeah.
it right this way. So
Okay.
freeze
Freeze
the
ours.
inside.
Yep.
I like it.
Probably a broom more.
Yeah.
I'll throw it a little better though.
Well then, okay.
Like this.
Yep.
Take away his nose hit. Just freeze ours.
Three-quarter might even be the best shot.
If we were to come up a little light and
Yeah.
leave him that double, it's not the end of the world.
Angle freeze, just give him a double, a nose hit double. I thought they might go top 8 here. Let them play a double.
I'm okay with top 8.
Yeah. I'm with Mark on this one.
All there.
Yeah, same split though.
Easy, easy,
Line's
easy.
good.
More room.
Weight's good.
More room. Right to it.
Okay, I like the line here.
Okay,
Weight's
well,
good.
we need to come down.
Line's
here.
good.
Line's good. Little bounce,
Line's
Mark.
good.
Hey, line's really good.
It's good. Right on it.
Line's perfect. Benny.
Whoa,
Easy. No
whoa,
bounce.
on it.
No
6
bounce.
inches.
Never. Okay. Good watch. That's not bad. Not bad.
And nose hit.
Try, boss.
Oh, good throw.
Not bad. I think if anything, it just got a little better.
quicker.
Yeah. I think that was a titch better throw too, so it probably carried a little.
Yeah.
I think so. I just roll 1 inch. I like just
Throw it at the nose and sweep it a bit, right?
Yeah, let's go normal.
Okay, I like that.
Right there.
Top 8, Vic, you can't hit the one that Botcher would have thrown on the top 8, so you'd have to play that thin double, and things sometimes those don't work.
Just a millimeter low.
I'm just watching the Botcher team. They've all gathered together to talk. Mark went out right away. And this is a mark of a team that is not prepared to sit back and just take what comes to them. They're looking for ways to find that little extra edge.
Whoa, whoa, right off. Curl.
It's his forte, the
Firm
hit
weight,
game.
firm weight.
Bang. Oh, dear. Came up too much.
Yep.
Misses the double. Gives up the steal of one.
Nice end, buddy.
From these 8, we'll get down to the final 4 on this Friday afternoon here in Fredericton, Willy O'Ree Place. PointsBet Invitational. Our feature game, Brendan Botcher out of Calgary, Golden Flash, Saskatoon. Botcher opened with a couple, stole one now, and so once again it's Flasch with the hammer. Has the last rock playing with Yellowstones.
You get it right again.
I think we during the break we just looked at each other and said Golden Flash has to make that. That was there for him.
Oh yeah, he could have missed it maybe
better.
2.5, 3 inches tighter than that. Didn't miss it by a ton. Just maybe an outward motion on that release, which is very rare for Colton. He's extremely accurate on the hits.
Not in. Not a curl then. Yep. As long as we're not in.
Keep going, guys. Keep going. Curl.
Shot.
Nice sweep. Great shot.
Like that too.
It's good too.
Sure. Just behind T.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full 8.
Could throw a tight center guard.
Should be the same, guys.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, so why is he doing this?
Well, I think what he's hoping to do is those 2 yellows are pretty close together, so he might try that double later, and this keeps the rocks separated. And in theory, if you can eliminate all the Coltons, your Colton's going to have to draw for 1. There'll be enough red in there that you'll have to be forced. There won't be a blank opportunity. I believe that's what he's trying to do.
A little straight, guys. We're there.
It'll get
Line's
there.
good.
Your
Just
line
no,
is good.
we're on your broom.
Line's
good.
guys. Line's good.
Come on.
You want this in the white, though. You don't want it in the red, because then
Very nice, Brett.
Flasch can go around the corner guard and be closer than that rock. That's perfect.
Yeah, good shot.
Okay.
So, solid board. Roll right into it.
So you're seeing this out there and it's pretty patient, right?
Oh, he's throwing the end. We're throwing the end.
Oh, the end. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Nice and positive there. It'll curl up for you.
Solid board.
Yep.
Solid board.
This
Wait,
is
good.
Kevin Marsh.
Close.
Yep.
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 Real hard.
Hard.
Whoa. Curl.
Jeez.
Yep.
Oh, they'll
Good shot.
That's good. That works too.
stuff it in, and it'll spill to the back edge. It looks as if, at the moment, Botcher's still sitting the 2 without last rock.
And just stay right there, and it stops that in-turn come around those yellows, which is what Flasch had in the plans.
Just easy.
Yep. Wait's great.
Clean.
Easy.
Yep.
Hard.
Hard, Ben. Hard.
Come on, Benny. Whoa.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
Good audible. Good audible.
Skipper.
Did you time it? Close, eh?
10-3. Close.
Brilliant.
It ran
Brilliant call
very
by the
differently
skip.
from the other one.
Like the first little softer release, maybe. Just
Oh, yeah.
weight was good. 10-3.
Or to the back one or not? Yeah, frozen right here.
Okay, 14-5 then.
Good at running nice.
That's a lot of ice.
I think it's fine though. Based on my
Takes its time.
It does, yeah, it does.
Was supposed to high side it, and whatever happened halfway down, Botcher overruled the call and managed to get it by his own. But now there's an opportunity to get around the corners
Line's good.
and
Oh,
backing.
Line's tight.
Like to go for T line.
Line's tight.
Gotta go.
Hard.
Hard, Dad.
So Daniel,
Hard, Dad.
Catlin Schneider.
Just go straight around.
Come on, boys. Come
Here
on.
comes
Hard.
Flasch,
Come on,
too.
Dad.
Go, 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 go.
Come on, Flasch. Keep
Hard,
going.
hard,
Keep going.
hard,
Keep
curl
going.
now, curl now, curl now. Hard, hard, hard.
Maybe tuck something in there.
Just got light on that.
And
had, like,
still 1, 2, and 3. Botcher without last rock.
Yeah.
I like that ice.
Yep. Yeah, that's great, Mark.
Half quick ice.
Yep. 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 Heavy hat. Yep. Heavy hat. Hard. Hard.
Called
All the
right
way.
away.
Gotta go, gotta go.
Hard, Danny.
Oh, look at Hebert. Look at Ben. Look at Ben go. Look at him go.
Very
Oh,
good.
goodness.
Still got it, eh, boys?
Can you believe
Good
it?
sweep. How you like that, Flash?
As he gives it to his former teammate. You know, remember now that Carlton Flash played a couple of years with Kevin Cooley and Ben, and they won a Brier together.
Sweep. Very good sweep. Still got it, eh, boys?
They were the front end for Cooley.
Good sweep. How you like that, Flash?
Do we have to deal with that right now?
Well,
I think we have to play that.
okay.
All right, that's fine then.
Like firm.
I think firm. 2/3.
I guess if we roll on top of the red, that's okay.
Hard to roll over the top with Peel even.
Dunstone and Howard. And you see Scott Howard with his brush down for his dad, Glenn. 2-1. Dunstone leads it. Howard opened with a single. Dunstone replied with a couple as we play here in 3.
And an opportunity here for Glenn after a really good freeze on his first one. Matt tried to run his own guard into it and pick it out, but left another Yellowstone there. Chance for 2.
Howard does pick up a couple out of the Penetanguishene Club. Dunstone from the Fort Rouge in Winnipeg.
I might want Scott's rock.
Yeah, do you want to take it? Similar ice, similar throw. I'll just be a little more positive. Yep.
Great hit and roll in behind here. That's totally underneath.
Clean. Little less weight. Clean. Easy, Benny. Clean. Little less. Yep. Hack weight. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Curl. Clean. Very good.
Nothing safe.
Surgical. Spot on weight, Vic, that makes the difference there.
Good call, Botch.
Nice. Very good.
Nice. A little softy on my first one, sorry.
That's okay. That was a heck of a scrum.
Yeah, that's good. That's why he's there, though.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's a heck of a sweep. That's why he's there.
There you go.
There you go.
How do you like that?
That was the same, everything felt same weight,
Yeah.
same slide. Just
Yeah. A little more back. Clean, clean, clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys like
Definitely
that?
not 15. Yeah. Yeah, I do like that.
Cooey and Carruthers 3-0. Cooey leading as he stole one in the first, did Kevin. Added a steal of 2 more in the second. Final stone. Reed Carruthers now in 3.
And with the ice he's taking, he may be trying to play the thin double blank.
Wow. It's risky.
Gunlickson calling line. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. And
No blank, but you
no
got
blank.
the single.
You're on the board.
Oh, shoot. Pistol, buddy.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Nose is.
I like the nose, but
Yeah. Just a molecule low.
Okay.
I don't want to run into this one by accident.
okay.
That's a
Looks
new
like
one.
an intern to
A
me.
molecule
Okay, sounds good.
low.
Can roll my shooter into a. If we dead nose it, do you think we're in danger?
Well, then just pick it, Brendan, if there's any question.
Here, Rod, or Brett. Like, I think to not be in danger, we've got to roll a little, and then if I'm throwing peel and we get it over
Then,
here,
then you can pick it clean if
let's
you prefer.
pick it, I think. Yeah.
If Sheldon from Big Bang Theory was curling, he would say a molecule low.
Exactly. I don't really want to take out that one, but
well, I don't think you're in any danger. I think an intern right
All
there.
right. What a mess, Kathy.
Yes, I am. This whole end, there's that one yellow stone. That was the final stone hit and rolled by John Epping, facing 5. And now Brad Gushue trying to play the in-off to get rid of it for a mittful.
Off his own to come across. What do you got? Nichols calling line, coming across. You got it. Sure enough. As the brushes go up, it's a home game for Gushue here in Fredericton as he'll score 4. When he walked out on the ice for the first time yesterday, the crowd stood and cheered and the flags were flying. You thought you were in St. John's.
Wow. I don't want to the timing's not quite there yet.
Yeah, he had trouble with the landing gear, but as usual at the far end, he was golden.
I think just try to bury it.
Okay, I think Kevin got his going a bit early.
He did, yeah. Well, he got them both going.
Like, I think that's probably max for you, is what I'm saying.
That's like it, Dan, so it should be good.
Botcher wanted to pick that clean, leave the one in the 4-foot where Flasch had to deal with it. Now you kind of free come around here. Might not be shot rock.
Yours felt nice through there, like
really nice.
Gentle.
Yep.
Not kind of grabby.
Nope, not at all.
Line's good. Where are we?
Got to go a little bit. Yep.
Line's good. Where are we?
D-line.
Room. We want it above the tee then.
Okay.
Line's
Top
good.
4.
Lots of room.
Top 4.
Got it, curl.
Clean.
Top 8.
Curl now, curl.
Still lots of curl, guys.
Kevin, all day. Both you go. Both you go.
Curl, Kevin, curl.
Keep going. Hard.
Curl, Kevin, curl.
Good boy, Flasch. Nice shot. Good boy.
Very nice. Could be shot, too.
This one's shot.
Yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. No
Take a
doubt.
look at what I can see here. I think it's draw. Maybe a heavy draw bump to rock.
Back 8, wait.
Yeah.
Back 4,
back
8.
4, back 8, bump to rock.
Yep.
Tough shot.
Their shot.
Wow. Yeah, if not by much, you got to move it a little. I would guess that's. I would think that's minimum.
Back 8.
Okay. I mean, Colton's here, but
I like that.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
It's back 4, bump to rock.
Yeah.
We got 14-7 on Flash's draw.
I think you're right, Mark. I think we, yeah. You like that?
I do.
Nice through here.
Yep.
Yeah,
14.
It's one of those ones. If he's T-line, it wrecks in the top yellow. If he's back 8, back 12, he misses everything. It's almost like you just play the T-line Wade. If they could just brush it a hair at the end and move it an inch, he sits too.
Yep.
Corner frozen does the job too.
Heavy. Yes. Straight.
Back line.
Hard. Back hard. Keep going.
Yeah, I gotta stay down.
Curl.
Oh, goodness, a little rub. And that'll just gear away. Now, that little rub, did he move it far enough to bring the other one in as shot rock? Watch this. Bang. And now he just slides on by.
Don't think so. Unbelievable effort, though.
Hey, watch. No sweat.
Still a draw for 2?
Yes.
Same weight, positive.
Brendan had to make his first one. He gave Flasch a chance. He made it perfect.
And it's a big second point for Colton Flasch. I think they need something. They need to get something, a little bit of confidence here.
Curling now. It's like you got to go.
Yep, got to go.
Hard.
Wow, fellas. Schneider out too.
Gotta go.
Oh, hey, big fellas, put it on your back, carry it. And there it is for the deuce, but they had to work for it.
Well, it better be else we should have hit.
Colton Flasch of Sutherland and Saskatoon picks up a couple. Willy O'Ree Place here in Fredericton, the home of Willy O'Ree, the first black player to play in the NHL, made his debut with the Boston Bruins against the Montreal Canadiens at the Montreal Forum, January the 18th of 1958. He was the youngest of 13 children. His grandparents came to Canada from the United States through the Underground Railroad, and he fell in love with hockey almost immediately. When he was playing in the Ontario Hockey League, he lost his right eye, still made the NHL, and today is instrumental in the NHL's youth development as an ambassador for NHL diversity. Willy O'Ree, now 86 years of age, and his number retired by the Bruins. Member of the Hockey Hall of Fame, recipient of the Order of Canada, as well as the U.S. Congressional Gold Medal. And Fredericton is his home. As we welcome you back on this Friday afternoon, I want to say Friday evening, but we've played already this morning.
That's
and
right, yeah.
We are just about 5 o'clock local time, Atlantic time. 3-2, big couple of points for Colton Flasch, as Botcher will have the last rock here in the fourth, playing the Redstones.
Line's good. Got a curl.
Dan, go. Weight's really nice.
Curl. Okay, line's good now. Yep.
Great shot.
Good boy, Kev. Good judge, boys.
Peel. Straight peel. Clean. Good toss, Brett. Very good.
Patient call there by Botcher, and that's something he's does a lot. Is takes his time in an end, lets it unfold, lets it come to him a little bit. He's got shot rock. Flasch has to deal with it at some point.
Okay, same path, right? So.
All right, back to Dunstone and Howard after we watched Glenn Howard score a couple. We're playing in the third. Matt Dunstone and his team from the Fort Rouge rebuilt with VJ Neufeld at third, Colton Lott at second, and Ryan Harden at lead.
Well, an opportunity for Matt on his first, but he hit and rolled and set up a double for Glenn Howard to lie to. Glenn just missing the double, but did leave shot Stone in the house. And so for Matt now, an opportunity for two, needs to bite the 8-foot.
I thought all there.
Yeah, just leave it then. Mine's fine.
Curling quite a bit.
Returning to Manitoba after 4 Brier appearances for Saskatchewan. A couple of bronze medals.
Good toss. Go, boys.
Shot, Matt.
Good answer.
And
14-5
will retake the lead for the couple.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit inside of my
Yeah, sliver high with
board, heavy board.
Heavy board, sliver high. Same as you threw a few ends ago here.
Yeah. Okay, beak it-ish. A little low.
Even if you hit it 2/3 and roll a bit.
Kind of weight.
Just sliver more.
You're throwing that easy board?
7/8.
Heavy board.
I'll come up board.
Okay.
Save all 3 yellow here. Catlin doesn't overthrow this.
Forward.
Line's good.
Yep. Forward. Yes. On the easy side. Hard. On the easy side. Hard. You really gotta go.
Hard. 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 Hard in the yellow. Hard in the yellow.
That one, I guess. Yep.
So he unlocks things. Still leaves Botcher the one.
Slow white. Not bad.
Yellowstone Flash corner frozen, and is there a hole to get through there?
Yeah. Okay.
A big roll plays too.
Okay. What's the weight?
Easy.
Easy should run nice and true here.
Yeah.
What's the play?
Try to roll over, maybe buried around the center guard, or even farther. You heard Botcher say a big roll plays also.
Little heavy.
Hard. Right to it. Right to it.
Oh, no anchors. Better to get it.
As we drop in on Cooey and Carruthers. And 3-1, Cooey leading. First time we're seeing Kevin throw here, as you saw Tyler Tardy with the holding the brush, the three-time Canadian junior champion, and now with a front end of Thiessen and Martin, the old front end, of course, for Brendan Botcher.
And he's facing two is the force in this end after Reed split the house. And there's your force and your single.
Whoa.
Girl. Good throw.
Again, I said it earlier today, sometimes you just, okay, that's what it, you just,
that's right.
You're startled at first when you see the new people with new skips, rebuilt teams.
Or do you want to chase this with Hack?
Nope. These guys like the first call.
Okay. 2/3 low. Board.
2/3 low with board on the thick way. My intern?
Yep.
Board?
Rolling on the ring. Board weight.
Boy, that's tight ice. I believe they're playing the split here. Or they're kicking over and rolling, I mean. Try to guard his own.
Whoa. Heavy board. Clean.
Whoa. Curl.
One more angle, Benny. One more angle. Come on, bud. Come on. You gotta go more.
Curl.
You gotta go. Throw it.
No, dear, just a glancing blow on the way by. Pushes a little bit more underneath.
Sorry, guys. That was probably solid easy.
Interesting. Glant all the way down was coaching Hebert with the angle of his brush. A little more angle, he was saying.
Sorry, I just want you.
All good.
More here. No, I don't want that. I just want you a little more. A little too behind.
What do you think on mine there, Kev? What's the speed like? I got 20.
Seems to be a sweet spot.
Good here, Flasch.
Getting that brush angle right to do the maximum scratching.
Yeah, I would say exactly somewhere in there.
In that 30% range. Couldn't have worked out worse for Mark, really. He's kind of queued up the yellow rays at some point for Flasch.
Top 4, top 8. Top 4.
Really gotta go.
Come on.
Got to get by.
Top 8.
Daniel left, Kevin right. And they won't.
A little light too, eh?
Just gotta run and it'll be fine. Yeah. Just kind of finishes there.
We'll try and stick it there.
Plant it there, leave them the double. Get cute with normal and try and keep them all.
I don't like that.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think we can leave it because he's gonna
plant that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you were here, but.
And a blank in the fourth, and it remains 4-1 Guju.
Okay. If anything, I think we're trying to catch it a little bit high and get it there.
That's the shot.
Yeah.
A little high, shouldn't
Should run straight. Yep.
Keep an eye on that though next time.
3/4? Like 2/3? You like that?
Yeah. 2/3.
Heel. Whoa. Off. Curl. 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 Come on, you almost got it. Curl, 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 curl.
Running back. Oh, and then gets rid of the backing and then leaves that flash stone maybe a quarter underneath.
Not a good throw. Tough shot, but you missed it the wrong way.
Well, they're just ripping this thing.
For one.
Yeah, but why don't we get in here? Make them draw it too.
Well, the last thing we want to do is pull in right here. Give them a double for 2.
Well, we're down 1. We need to be a little
We just need
aggressive.
a force.
Okay, boys, let's
Why
make
wouldn't
a
we
call.
try
We
to
got
get here?
we got under a minute 50 to play.
I mean,
Yeah,
I guess if you go here and you're here, that's good. Like we want them to be drawn against a couple, right?
Well, yeah. I'm just throwing devil's advocate. Easily throw a guard, but
They're really tight here for time.
center, I don't know it that well.
Timeouts are there, but of course you use them early. Don't have them late.
I don't think if you get here, Flash, he's playing the double.
Okay,
He's taking his 1, right?
Okay, let's play here.
Yeah.
I just don't know the ice as well, but I think so. There is
Need another full end, Vic.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe we need a little less. There.
Yeah. I don't think you're far off with this.
Same way as
Need a little less though.
You just don't want to get inside too early, right?
No, I know. We
Yeah,
have
I like
to get
this.
inside though.
I like this.
They're both right here.
Mine
you know,
was not-
you can
What
kind
do you
of
think?
guard
You just
it.
bite the 8 kind
It's
of
a
thing?
tricky raise. If the raise isn't missed, you steal one, or you get your forces, which Flash wanted. Schneider wanted to try
Where are you
to
aiming for? Just bite the 8
sink
foot?
another one.
Okay, and if we're a hair short, we're a hair short.
Yeah, they'll let you know right away because we'll
Okay.
throw a guard if it's
There
light.
has been a extraordinary amount of conversation about placement of the stone.
Okay, so
Even from the hack, he's probably spent another 20 seconds in the hack. That 47 seconds is to complete an entire end.
Okay,
They're not
little
gonna
extra
make it.
room. Quite a bit of room.
Hold on, Kevin.
Where are we?
Top 8. Top 8.
Lots of room.
Whoa,
Pass
Kevin.
the curl.
Off of it,
Pass the
Kevin.
curl. Okay, line's close.
No.
Now clean.
It's got a curl
Still
mile,
curl.
guys.
Still curl. Line's good.
It's got a curl.
Keep going. Curl. Curl now.
curl
Curl.
mile.
Both of you. Hard. You got a good one. Come on. Go, 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 go. A little farther. Good shot.
Good shot.
Well, they haven't used the timeout, so in fact you've got what, over 4 minutes when it's at 90 seconds, right? You got 2 90s.
Yeah, that only helps 2
I
shots,
like
though.
that.
You
I
can't-
understand.
You can only throw 1 each time out.
Hair more. That's good.
They're in trouble.
7 seconds. Lots of time. What? We need 0. We need 1 second.
What's that?
We just need 1 second, technically. It's my last shot.
What's that?
My last shot. We have lots of time.
We have another end.
Shoot that out turn.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go,
why I was
47.
telling you had
Oh.
Oh,
That's
he's
really quick. We got 2 timeouts, right?
yeah, you got 2.
Be straight.
I think so.
Flash was
Gonna throw the intern.
figured he had tons of time to throw 1 more rock. They just informed him it was 1 more end.
Quarters, yeah.
Yeah, they got him a no. Oh,
Me a little more. Yep. Whoa, whoa,
Brendan Botcher.
whoa, whoa. Clean. Yep.
Here we go, final stone. What do you got? What combination can you put together? Bang, bang. Oh, how do you like that?
Shot.
For 2. If you're Colton Flash, you think you just had your pocket picked. Yeah. He's probably going to say a lot of that this year in the front end of Gallant Hebert. We've talked often about a hurry-up offense. This is one for Colton Flash. Daniel Marsh, his second, and he's in the hack. He was in the hack before the other stone even came to a stop. Colton Flash was giving signs of what I want you to do, and the brush was down almost immediately. So where were they? 30,
45,
45.
47, excuse me, 47 seconds.
47. So they're at 34 now for 2 shots. They still have 2 timeouts remaining.
Clean. Little down.
As we welcome you back on this Friday afternoon, the Elite 8 of the PointsBet Invitational. Brendan Botcher with a 5-2 lead. And Colton Flasch with last rock. So again, there you've got Kevin Marsh. He's already in the hack. Time starts now, and Brush is already down. And he to use 2 seconds.
And not only was the brush down, but Colton was doing signs of wait before the rock had come to rest. And so there's no need to spend any excessive time in the hack.
Right.
All these teams practice this hurry-up offense too. Like you can play an end in a minute quite easily, but luckily for them, it's not a complicated end.
No. Oh, a little full.
Clean.
Not heavy though.
Weight's good. Clean.
Yep.
Clean.
Yeah.
Clean.
Clean. Clean. What is that? 10-6. Yeah. Very good.
So right there, he's out, brushed down, just yelled down the weight, and here we go. And 29.
Hair less. Hair less weight. Whoa, off, right off.
Close. Whoa.
Got.
Easy.
And Captain Schneider's got his track shoes on, and he's hustling down to get ready.
Heavy.
As we play third stones.
Clean. Clean.
Great numbers for
Clean.
Mark Kennedy.
Very good, Mark.
There we go. Stop. Control. And brush down. And here we go. 29, 6, 5, 4.
Weight's good.
A little heavy. A little heavy.
A little hot.
Close.
Hair hot.
Whoa.
Firm control.
Whoa.
You're right. I think Russell, he's getting a break here because it isn't too involved.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And the other thing is that if you, not only is it involved, you don't have to think about it, but also if you're throwing a finesse weight, you have to sit that little bit extra second in the hack and think about your kick speed. You can't just come driving out as they've been able to do with this open end approach.
Could Botcher force his hand a little bit, Kathy?
Sure, he could have.
But he's 3 up. So.
Exactly. He doesn't really care about whether they run out of time. He worries about winning the game.
Gotta go. Big roll. Big roll. Very good.
Beauty. Nice weight, Mark. A little bit less, but not much.
There you go. Stopped it at 19.
Same weight.
Still has his 2 timeouts.
Off.
Clean. Same weight.
Whoa. Let it curl.
Same weight.
Clean.
Same weight.
Clean.
Give it clean down.
Clean.
Okay, what do you?
Hey, come over
What
here.
do you want to do?
Come over here. Clean.
Are we taking a time or not?
No.
They want to.
Not if I don't
They
need
want to
to.
save those timeouts for later. Botcher in his first.
Whoa, curl.
Whoa. Clean.
Clean.
Beauty, bud. Nice, Brendan. Good throw.
Yeah.
So they should be able with this now to get through it.
Yep. Hard. Hard. Real hard. I got it.
Okay.
Hard.
And rolling it away. So they're
Shot.
going to escape here.
Shot, Flash. What? 17.
Same speed, you think?
Helps to have played with Kevin Cooey.
Drive a little less.
They're used to this hurry-up offense.
Top 12, I think. Top 8.
Try and get it there. Line's good.
Line's
Top
good.
4. What do you think? Top 8, top 12. Top 8.
How about Botch? Good sweep, guys.
Good.
For Botch.
Good.
Up turn?
Yeah.
So no timeouts used, 11 seconds remaining on the clock. Final Stone looking for the blank. And there it is. So we will put a blank on the board here halfway through. 5-2 Botcher.
The 2022 PointsBet Invitational is brought to you in part by Home Hardware. Here's how. By Scotty's Facial Tissues, the tissue for any issue. By BKT Tires and OK Tire. And by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of Curling Canada.
Well, Brendan Botcher and the team leading it over Colton Flasch as we reach midway point. At 2 in the fourth as a result of this key shot.
Not only did he hair this, but he threw the right turn. You're going to get a drag effect there because of the actual rotation of the rock. And if we watch this thing come down, it's unbelievable the angle that'll change. I lost an Olympic Tour final game with my brother to Bert Gretzinger on that same shot. We left him for that. We left him for that shot because we didn't think it was makeable with the out turn. Because it's the in turn. Watch what happens here. As this comes down, the spin, that clockwise spin, kicks the rock straighter. We'll stop it here. If that was the out turn and you hit it in this spot, it would go like that and miss completely. You can hit the exact same spot with the in-turn rotation. It'll grab, drag, and kick it the way it was supposed to. It changes about 20 degrees, just enough to make it. They knew it. He made it. What a shot.
And that key shot is brought to you by BKT Tires, growing together. And that's what this team will do. Starting this year, 4 players will grow together, and they have a 5-2 lead, Kathy.
Well, the numbers are really big on the left side. We've talked so much about this team. And for Colton Flasch, it was very lucky last end. I think that Brendan Botcher didn't push it at all, or they would have been sitting back watching Botcher throw extra points into the rings. You got to manage that clock.
Colton Flasch and his team from the Sutherland Curling Club in Saskatoon. They went 8-4 last year at the Brier.
That was kind of
Of course, a gold medal winner with Cooey in 19. Well, before we get into the 6, let's update you on a couple of games. We'll start with John Epping against Bragushu.
Well, Bragushu hit to lie the 2, and so for John, he can try to play the double, but even if you make it, you're not going to lose the shooter, but he needs to come off of one of them in order to be shot.
Jansen, bang and kick it, and that'll be for 1. They'll start the second half 4-2 Guju. Number 3, Matt Dunstone. Glenn Howard, number 6. Howard with last rock. Glenn throwing. Son Scott holding the rush.
Well, he's looking to play the double. It's pretty flat, but if he hits it correctly, he can score 2.
4-time Canadian, 4-time world champion, 18 appearances at the Brier, and that will get him a single. And they'll start the second half in a 4-4 tie. On this Friday afternoon here in Fredericton, we narrow the men's field down to the final 4 from this Elite 8. 5-2. Botcher leads it. And after that blank, once again, Colton Flasch will have the hammer playing the Yellowstones.
Little heavy. It's got a curl suit.
Oh, mine's good. Maybe he has to curl, but
yeah. I don't think we ever want to touch it.
No, I agree. I think higher at this point's better.
Good, Dan. Good shot.
It's just grabbing, isn't it?
Fine T, guys.
T-line.
It's really good.
Or not.
You don't think?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
Your line's good.
Thought I slid out hard. Okay.
T-line.
Just behind T.
It's curling a little
Gotta
early.
be back 4, guys.
It's curling a little.
Gotta go.
curling big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top tee.
Okay,
Come on, Mark. You got to go deeper.
You got to be at least top 4.
Sliding good. Come on, Mark. Hurt. We're to your broom.
Top, right there, right there, right there.
You're good. You're good.
Much different
Very good, guys.
strategy than
14
you
right.
see most teams play, Kathy. Most of them
Might,
would guard that run back here, the double.
Where am I hitting it? The hair low.
He's very comfortable with his plan.
Are we throwing peel? It's like regular.
And in the fourth game, Reed Carruthers out of Morris, Manitoba, scored 2 in 5. Cooey leads by 1. Kevin out of Calgary, and he does have the hammer playing 6.
Cooey did try a double on his final stone, really sharp, got 1, but left 1 in, and that allowed Reed to draw for that second point.
Good, Brett. Good throw. I don't think we need to be super duper high.
No, 1/3, just above the logo.
Yeah. Half?
Yeah, half's really good, Brett.
Interesting play. Left the easy double, and they accidentally jammed it. Left it guarded. Now it's just going to be double guarded with Gallant here.
Line's
Easy.
good.
Yeah.
A bit of trouble early for Flasch.
Line's good.
A little bit clean. Line's great. Line's
Easy,
a little tight.
easy if you're halfway.
A little bit. A little higher than half.
Over and off, over and off.
Stay down. Stay down.
Need it to die now. Need it to die, need it to die.
Brett's turns over curl 3 times in this game. Whether it's the stone or it's the operator.
Back 12, back line.
I'm positive and oh yeah, Dan, I've been telling this.
Yep. Let's go, buddy. Back 12.
Whoa! Whoa!
Never. Close though, mate. Back line.
Wow, curl.
Oh boy, this has to curl just to make contact.
Do we have the back red?
Curl! Keep curling, keep curling, keep curling, keep curling. Go, 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 Dan.
Maybe
Go,
it'll
go, go.
listen a little bit.
Ooh, just.
Set that way too hard.
Okay, Kev.
Just set it way too hard.
Weight was good, right?
Weight was great. A little too aggressive.
Guard?
What?
Or what?
Your second shot.
We are. Well, then I like the guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a little positive with the rotation.
high.
No real good raises on the right-hand side. No weight in on the right-hand side, so just keep them busy down the middle here.
Halfway, guys. Yeah. It's great.
Easy!
Mark Kennedy.
Really tight.
Easy!
Tight.
Whoa, whoa! Middle deep here, Botch. Just past the logo. We're coming down now.
Right on the black line.
Gotta
Just
curl
past
a
it.
little.
We're deep, Botch.
No.
Little hot here, Botch.
Corner freeze the
Just
yellow.
past the
Corner
black
freeze.
line.
Corner freeze. Yep. Hard breath. Hard breath. Curl, curl, curl. Curl, 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 curl. Go. That'll play right there.
Not bad.
Sure will.
That'll play.
Accidentally perfect. Sorry, guys. I like that better.
So Botcher's got 1 locked under cover,
got it
sitting
all
top
right,
8. Sitting 2 just
all
back
I
of the
see when
tee
you
line, edge of the 8.
What else do we have?
It's Flash
Not a
with
lot.
Flash Rock, however.
We can tap their red onto a yellow and try to
You
spin
have to
in.
play this, but
You could go, yeah, like I hit the outside of the red one and roll this way.
Just a really tough shot. It's all right. Okay, what is it now?
It's 15,
What do you think now?
15 to tee, but
14 and a half.
guess it's a little
14,
wider.
7, 5, somewhere in there.
Go boys,
Okay,
top
boys.
4.
No sign of the ace slowing down at all so far.
Easy.
Easy early.
Heavy.
Heavy.
It's a little wider down. It might
Easy
come
early.
down. Line's good. Clean.
Room.
Okay, we can wait.
Line's good.
Lots of room.
Tee. Back
Down
4.
drop.
Tons of room.
Down
Back
drop
four,
when you can.
back four.
Down drop.
Slowing
Go
down
ahead.
now.
Dan, go Dan. Dan.
Back
Go,
4.
Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Keep going. Come on, make room.
Keep going, keep going.
Go.
Gets it under cover, just back of the tee line, back of the button.
Botcher knew that play was going to come at some point, and he's kind of banking on Mark making this good. He either freezes it in or a little bit short. Top 4, top 8 even. It kind of blocks Flash's chance of getting 2. And they force him to 1 here. Job well done. But a real good freeze. You can almost bump it an inch or 2 and sit shot rock.
Line's good.
Just can't be deep.
Line's good. 4.
Easy then. Weight's good.
Easy, easy, easy.
Hebert on the left.
T-line.
Grant on the right.
Back 4, back 4.
All on its own so far. Not a lick.
That's a bad shot for Mark.
And by it goes.
Anything short.
Back button
Can you say a time on it?
14:06 was his.
So 14.5 is close then, eh? I mean, anything short.
Yeah.
Just take
Same as we last
6
Pat,
to 8
take-
off.
Yes.
Don't see that too often.
No.
Mark's going to miss shots like everybody else, but he's pretty good at missing it the right way.
I liked it. I liked it.
Close.
Clean.
Line's good. Room.
Line's good.
Well, sometimes a miss
Line's good.
won't end up punishing you. This may.
Yeah, that's very true.
Hard. Hard, Kevin.
Line's good.
Hard, Kevin. You gotta go wing. Hard.
You
Go,
sneak
go, go,
this.
go, shot. Come on,
If
buddy,
you've
go.
got enough oomph
Go, go,
here.
go, 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 go.
Oh, and it'll die as it gets to that center line, that slide path.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's in a good spot.
Yeah. Shot, buddy.
That freeze is still there, and
Yeah.
again, now they get a chance to come up short as the audible.
It's a little gradual, like halfway down the sheet it looks a little wide.
Pretty good too.
Even if you tuck a quarter.
Just got a little tighter than my second one, and then weight comes off.
It's top 4.
Yeah.
If it's real good, we'll weld it on there. This is a little more ice.
Similar to the pass.
Kathy, Matt Dunstone, Glenn Howard, after we showed you Howard getting 1 and 5. Dunstone and his last coming up.
Well, he's facing 2 really good shots by Glenn Howard to go around a guard and tap back Dunstone stones that were buried. But just with that soft weight, he did. And so Matt now ignoring the stones that are on the other side and just trying to reach the full 8 foot, almost biting 4, which is what he needs against 3.
Copy.
Whoa, it's good. Mine's good.
Colton Lott, Ryan Harnden on the front end. BJ Neufeld is
Gotta be just here.
managing the house.
So 14-7 there, guys.
Very nice to take the lead, and one more time trying to play the corner freeze, and comes deep too.
Nice shot, man.
Let's talk about the line for a
Not
second.
good.
You can't get too tight too early.
You can't get too
Like,
tight.
if you have the right weight, it comes in there.
No, I understand. I just didn't have
Yours will
Botcher's
curl-
line though either.
Yours will curl more than mine, though, right?
I like edge then.
Okay. So it's.
I had you here, so this give me edge.
Sure. Okay.
Now
like
I
that.
know that if you can get it in there.
It'll come in there
The
now.
problem to my mind is where you leave this stone.
Yes.
If you come up light and leave it out there, then
Yeah.
you may leave a double.
Yeah,
Correct?
you will. Yeah, you've got to hide it, and light won't hide it. You're no question about it. But boy, oh boy, both Mark and Brendan, you've got to be short there,
Yeah, you got her. Let's go, buddy. Let's go make it.
especially with those beasts on the front end. Good chance here. You get one really good. You could get as many as 3.
And you think about now the number of stones down this particular path.
Yes, that's a wonderful point, Vic. It's getting so warm there.
I'm having a really good 5 minutes.
Sir Kathy, I'm very sorry, but he made a good point there.
We'll let him have it.
Go ahead. No, straight down.
Oh.
Okay.
It was right on the tee.
It wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't.
Nice.
Not too bad, eh? Okay.
It's a little heavy. We still need a little
It's all right, though.
Probably jamming there, but
Definitely jamming. It's killing one of them. Maybe.
well, I think we're getting the 3.
Yeah. Still fairly thin. Give him his dues. Or you're having to make that freeze in there.
Yeah, I think I like whacking it.
Okay.
About a third, I think I'll do it.
Okay. Okay, pal, throw a good one.
I think it's likely to just hit a third and blast the button one off.
This one goes like that. I don't see the this rock going very far. If it hits, if he gets it really thin, he hits the shot rock. The one he's aiming at might spin.
That looks like max to me.
Sometimes with these type of stones, you can get enough spin, but they're so side by side. I'm not so sure. Got to get it thin with a lot of weight.
Clean.
Botcher, final stone.
Clean.
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 Clean. Yep.
Again.
Clean. Yep.
Now,
Yep.
little late lick, Gallant. Here we go. Bang, bang. Oh,
go.
and spin it away.
Oh, wow.
He did. He
Didn't think it was
did.
going anywhere. Great shot.
Good.
Again, the gear effect by getting it thin enough, he got the shot rock as opposed to his own, and it was going to spin.
Good action on the.
Yeah, great action.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Watch this thing spin, the yellow one.
Good call. A little bit of action spinning.
That's why I don't skip. I don't know what's going on in the house. Thought it was going to nut right there. Great shot.
Did kind of look like it was going to.
Yeah, and then nobody was positive that was going to happen. Very good throw, though.
Good shot. What was the conversation like on the draw? I have a little bit of regret that I didn't tell you that it was quick.
I asked if it was a little heavy because we had a little more ice, and Brett said no, it's good because of the mop.
Okay.
So I was just trying to throw my normal
draw. The
draw.
button,
Yeah.
and it got there easy.
But I think guys thought I was a little slow out of my hand. Like they might have been playing it a molecule slow.
Okay.
I
liked
it.
You know,
Pretty small.
So,
I'm okay with trying it.
4 ends left. Yeah.
4 ends left, down.
Like
2 without.
for 2, lucky if you get 3. If you can kind of come onto here, jam onto here.
How realistic is it to just going over the top of that back red one?
No, I think anything that's touching here, it's coming quite low.
What is he looking for? Multiple
As long as it
points
touches
here? Is
that,
that
I
what
think
he's
it's gonna
saying?
hit this. Gotcha.
I think he's
I don't-
thinking
I
red
don't like
rays.
everyone across the
This
top.
one just short of the rings
if you
on the
like it,
yellow
then
on
let's play
make a red double, I believe.
I didn't need to shoot this onto like.
Just you throw an out turn down the spot.
I think it's just hard enough. Just got to make sure you hit this. That's the hard part. You got to hit this pretty thin, right here.
Is it
Sounded like a
is it
thin
the
quarter.
time, Kathy, to play
3/4 low gives us
a
chance.
shot
2/3 even.
Thirds
like
probably
this,
is the
or
perfect
do you
amount.
draw for your
I think
single,
it's
which
really
is there,
straight here, so.
I agree.
and
Right
just
on the center line.
try to pick away at him with the remaining 4?
Do you know what? It's really tough because the draw for 1 is obviously a relatively easy shot, but you're down 3 playing Brendan Botcher. 1 point, you're down 2 without it. That's a tough road.
Down 5's not going to be good either.
No.
Tough shot.
Yep. Whoa.
Final stone, Colton Flasch. Botcher is hitting 2. Run it back. Clip anything. Oh, no. And that will be a steal of 2. So put it all on the line. Hit Colton Flasch. Botcher extends the lead. As we welcome you back on this Friday afternoon to Fredericton. And with that, a steal of 2 and Botcher now 7-2 up on Colton Flasch. We're going to go to the other side of Willy O'Ree Place and drop in and look at the game between Kevin Cooey out of the Glencoe Club in Calgary against Reed Carruthers from Morris, Manitoba. And it's 5-3. Cooey leading here as we play in the 7th. And it is Carruthers that does have the last rock playing the Yellowstones. Two rebuilt teams.
Yeah, I like getting rid of that.
Cooey changing his entire squad. Now with Brad Thiessen, Carrick Martin at the front end, and then bringing on the 3-time Canadian junior champion Tyler Tardy. While Carruthers, he now skips after those years with Mike McEwen playing 3rd. He's brought on a former Manitoba champion in Jason Gunlickson to throw the 3rd stone. Derek Samogalski, of course, has been with Carruthers during his years with McEwen, and then Connor Negevin used to play and was with Jason Gunlickson. And so basically you've got 2 from Gunlickson,
Curl.
2 from Carruthers, and that leads to a team of 4 from Morris.
Last end, Kevin Cooey had the opportunity to score 2. He made a short run on his first, and Reed only able to remove 1, but did not make the draw for that 2nd point. That's why you see the 1 on the board.
I didn't. I thought that's heavy. That's heavy.
It looks like a rocket. Back 8. Back 8.
What do you think of this combination, Kathy? You're as close as anyone to the curling scene in Manitoba.
In terms of Reed Carruthers, Reed and Jason played together just out of juniors for a long time. Very different personalities, but they were really good for each other. I think that Reed skipping is a really good idea. You know, he and Mike went back and forth. Remember, initially, I'll skip sometime, you skip. That doesn't work. You need to define who that person will be, and they agreed it's Mike. But I think that Reed feels the most at home there. Jason's got that big upweight ability, and the front end is solid. I think it's a good team. They just need to find their groove.
Yeah, they also they played mixed together. They played won the Manitoba mixed back 08, I think it was, if I remember correctly.
Hey, Jay. You got a bite.
Gunner's going to get even more big weight shots, doubles, run backs, and that's his forte. So he's very valuable at that position.
Whoa, curl.
And of course, we saw him earlier today on the ice behind the board, coaching Carrie Anderson as the #1 seed on the women's side has made the Final Four.
Great sweep, Con. Really nice sweep. Great sweep. Good job, buddy.
It's all curling there, but I was a little heavy wide.
Good shot. Good. Just clean it.
Tyler Tardy. Now, the thing that we're going to be interested in seeing, and I think Kevin Cooey mentioned it to you in your pregame interviews, is that, you know, he goes from the 3 players he had previously to 3 players that are pretty quiet. And he said that it's a little sound of silence is actually deafening. He's not getting a lot. He needs some sometimes for them to speak up, but it'll be something that they learn, I'm sure.
Well, I think, Vic, you know, how many times did we say when we watched Cooey in some pressure games that, you know, you've got maybe Ben, I'll pick on Ben, and Johnny Morris, that they had a lot of input because they're smart players that have been around. But how many times did we say, get out of his way? Well, he's found 3 guys that are totally out of his way.
And he did say in that interview that he was surprised how quiet they were and that he does need something. He said, it is a team game. I don't want to be out there on my own. But we talked to Brendan about his former front end of Brad and Carrick before the game, and he said he was very defensive of those 2 and said, you know what, if they are asked, they have opinions, and they're very well-informed opinions.
Intern, guys. Thanks.
So for Kevin, it is a new team, and I think the team wants to sit back and let Kevin give them some direction, but they'll find their voice, I have no doubt. And I think for Tyler, you know, all those years in juniors, such a great record, but for sure the strategy part was an area for growth, and he's going to learn so much. In fact, he told me yesterday he's already learned so much from Kevin. So be like a sponge and learn what you can.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Sure.
Well, it's like
Make sure all the way, Derek. Make sure. Keep
the
going.
likes of Wayne Middaugh going to the Howard School of Curling, right? It's here we go. Hardy is now in the Cooey School of Curling.
I think what he'll learn is just fantastic.
I remember we talked with Carly Burgess, of course, now curling with Jennifer Jones, and remember she said she was a little intimidated at first to be with Jones.
You bet.
And I'm thinking that the same thing may be with Tyler Tardy.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so he'll find his place, and I'll find a confidence level with a comfort level, maybe better, with Cooey. And you watch these people all these years on television. You may even play the odd game against them. the right temperament? I mean, we've seen him skip before, but do you think he has the right temperament, Kathy?
Oh, he does. He loves to throw last rock. He doesn't get very rattled. And those are two great attributes for a skip.
There we go. Away it goes. So blank on the board. Cooey, Carruthers, 5-3. Cooey leads.
I think we're just going to keep sticking to our game strategy that we always use. I know a lot of teams have changed, and maybe we'll push a little early, but just do what we do and focus on ourselves.
From the first moment we got together, we just felt like we could be authentically us. We had the same drive and determination, and once you have all of those things, it's just a matter of working hard and seeing what happens. But the team chemistry, for us, it was there right away.
That's going to be interesting. Einarson, the 3-time reigning Canadian champion, against Jennifer Jones. She has taken over that young junior team out of Manitoba. And Scheidegger, without their skipper, Christy Moore skipping against Caitlin Laws. That's the Final Four. When we join you again tomorrow, and make a note of the time, it'll be 10 a.m. Eastern Time for the Final Four in women's play. As we welcome you back, and we continue on here 5-3 after that blank. And once again, it is the team of Reed Carruthers with last rock playing here in Epping. Kathy?
I was just going to say, when you look at that Final Four, 3 of those 4 teams are from Manitoba. So Carey obviously back in the Scotties, but for Jennifer and Caitlin, that's only the top of the iceberg. Neither of those teams would really want to play in the provincial Scotties, and that's why they are both going hard this year, trying to secure some of those wild card berths.
They've got Chelsea Carey there too, right?
Oh, you've got Caitlin Jones, you've got Christy Watling, who lost the finals last year. There are a lot of good teams.
Okay.
Hey, Brad. Okay.
You guys like this?
Yeah.
Kark Martin
Double, yeah, I think.
and Connor Negerman.
I'm just seeing hit and roll.
Sure. Okay.
Bump. Solid bump, Derek.
Not heavy.
Not heavy.
Derek Samagalski.
Light.
7 Brier appearances, and all of them with Mike McEwen.
Whoa. Whoa.
It's tough to do it in Manitoba.
Whoa. Whoa. Curl. Curl. Whoa. Whoa. Yep.
Going to hang this on the edge. How lovely is that? What a lovely shot. Derek Samagalski.
Great line call, Rams.
Just perfect.
Oh, goodness.
Sweep.
Great throw.
Yep.
Brad Thiessen.
Whoa. Great shot, Brad. Beauty.
Six appearances at the Brier, all of them with Brendan Botcher.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You like that for ice?
That's good for ice. That's perfect for ice.
I didn't.
Okay, top 12. Waist close.
Watch around.
Around his own yellow corner guard here.
Curl. Curl. Have to curl.
Weight's good.
Got to curl.
Still on the guard, the center guard at the moment.
Are we on the red?
It's getting better.
There goes.
Keep going. Both go. Both go. Curl deep. Gotta go deep.
Oh, gosh.
Gotta go deep. Come on,
Just
boys.
off that guard.
Go. Keep going.
And they'll go around that corner.
That's nice curling.
Oh, we'll try it one more time.
No, you did, but it's just like his.
That's so much harder, Vic, than you think, because you're throwing a rock that has to curl 2 feet to wreck on a guard. And you have to believe you're going to get that 5 feet of curl, which we all know it is, but you've got that rock in your visual all the way out. Beautiful throw. They guessed right on the brushing, too.
How's the weight?
Tyler Tardy.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, Curry. Straight.
All right, what do we got here? A mess, to be sure. Gushue sitting the 1. And Matt Cam has the brush down for John Epping.
Well, he's trying to make the triple raise to get to that redstone that belongs to Brad Gushue. On Brad's final, he hit an exposed Epping stone, but he rolled away.
Jets control, hair down.
And how nice is that tardy? Quiet shot, nice.
Dig, buddy, you gotta hold it. Dig.
Trying to hold it, Pat Jansen. 1 and 2, and he moved it far enough for 2. Epping scores a couple.
Great weight for that shot.
Real good sweep.
Yeah, there's some tricks in the ice day number 1, but it's spectacular right now. Dave Merkler and team have turned it around here.
Jason Gunlickson.
Hard early, go! Hard!
Where's the weight?
Back 8!
Clean.
Hard line!
Whoa. Curl.
Oh, and did he want to leave it right on the face?
If he could, yes. Yeah, just a little hot on the speed.
Okay. What am I near with control?
What do you have there?
Here.
50. Yeah.
Nose is not terrible. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you try to roll again and you roll behind the tee line, you just set up a pocket for Carruthers.
Yep.
That might even be better than rolling.
Hard.
So Tardy becomes the import on this team as he comes out of British Columbia.
Hard, real hard.
And right on the nose.
Nice. Oh, great sweep. Shoot, bud. Thanks for making that for me.
Okay. You got it, Jay. You think maybe a touch more or no?
Yeah, it's close for your bump.
Would, no.
Weight's good.
Clean.
Weight's good.
Close.
Whoa.
Close though.
Whoa. Curl. Clean. Curl. Whoa.
Roll.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Great line call, Ram.
Gunlickson.
Unbelievable line call.
It's not terrible. It's good sweep, bud.
Shot, Jay.
Well, I can rip it.
Quite clean pick it, hey? It's not crazy thin.
So in that game we started with Colton Flasch, who put it really all on the line in 6, gave up that steal of 2, replies with a single in 7. 7-3.
What do you guys like?
If you can rip it.
If I could ever get it clean.
Yeah, I
that's
think.
pretty good. Even off this one is fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you miss that, it's always coming off.
Can you jam it
out.
there or no?
You can never jam it.
No. Okay, I like it.
Okay. Yeah, I like straight rip.
Yeah. Kind of risky the guard, eh?
Understanding who you're playing, it changes your strategy totally.
2-3 inches tap. But
No, I don't.
So why would the guard be risky?
Because Reed Carruthers could angle that yellow one in, or one of the red ones onto the yellow and sit either one buried or sit 2.
So we're just trying to rip it.
Lead.
Curl.
Whoa.
Curl.
Whoa.
Curl.
Straight. Whoa. Straight.
Just like that.
Nice call by Tyler there. He's not afraid to overroll a skipper on halfway down. That's his rock. He called that beautifully.
near the guard.
I'll be able to freeze.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Like we'll get some here though.
We'll get it late, lots late.
Bumper.
Nice shot.
They're going to try to get out of this now, are they?
I think he's going to try to roll over either buried or behind, in front of his other rock, of the Cooey rock there.
Because he does have that guard in front, right? Just covering the edge of the button. To roll behind if he wants to.
Weight's good.
Hard.
Weight's good.
Clean.
Reed Carruthers.
Weight's good.
Whoa.
Hard. Hard.
Yep.
Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa. Curl. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Great shot.
Perfect round. Dead perfect.
Nice call, Jay. Good call, Jay.
As good as we could do. Good.
It's.
I can make it to 6.
You're close.
Yeah, I know you'd have to just move it.
Yeah, just
And then if I freeze, he's got to get there.
Yeah.
Once the line's good, move it a hair.
Yeah.
Think that's max?
Whatever you can get me for room is great.
Pretty close on the scoreboard too, and Cooey right now out curling. Reed Carruthers. Player numbers are brought to you by New Holland, proud sponsor.
Like what about in the middle?
Curling Canada.
Is where I threw that wide one.
Yeah, 14 and a half is
It'll be a same path, yeah. Just 14 and a half.
Heard Kevin ask the front end,
So a bit
which
less than that draw for 2.
we'll know if it's not coming down like it was in other games. That's my analysis too. It's just not. It's just beautiful. This time in the game on a night draw or a later draw, you'd lose about 5-6 feet of speed, and it doesn't look like they've lost much at all.
Well, you haven't mentioned the word mud, which we mentioned in quite a few through the first 2.5 days. Slide path in particular.
Where are you?
Oh, here. Yep.
Hard then.
Basically just frozen. Hard line.
Hard line then.
Just frozen. Hard.
Gotta go. Gotta go.
Gotta go hard line.
Go. Come on, Brett.
Huge carry here for Thiessen.
Go.
No, he's going to lose it.
After saying that did come down a hair, a couple feet. It looked really good early.
Inside of Jay.
Makes this one. What a great comeback here, down 3-0.
Yeah, Cooey opened with a steal of 1. Carruthers had the hammer to start the game.
15-ish.
Stole another 2 in the second to fall behind. Traded a couple of singles. Blank in 7 now. And down by 2 and a chance to tie.
Let me know.
Curling early.
Let me know.
Yep.
Let me know.
Line's good. Line's close.
Samagalski on the left. Hegovan out in front.
Line's tight.
Let me know. Looks there.
Line's great.
Looks there. Looks heavy actually.
Line's great. 15 should be really good.
You're going to need some help here, though.
Nice shot, Ram. Nice shot, Ram.
Oh, wow.
Two yellow, Ram.
Okay, boys.
Talk about stopping short. We're tied at 5.
Stay close. Where?
Connor Negovan throwing the lead stones for Reed Carruthers out of Morris, Manitoba. And coming off a deuce and 8, we welcome you back and go to the 9th. As we narrow this Elite 8 down to the final 4 in the PointsBet Invitational. We are tied at 5, and it is Kevin Cooey, the 4th seed, that does have the last run. That's the Hammer playing the Redstones. Carrick
Hey,
Martin
light's good.
throwing lead
Top
drops
eight.
for Cooey.
Waits to it. Oh, man.
Close.
We're right to it.
Close, Brad. Brad.
Yep.
Brad Thiessen.
Whoa.
Whoa, whoa.
It's good.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Up,
Frozen.
Up. Just let it curl. Let
Frozen.
It let it curl. And
Curl, Ty, if you can.
Curl.
Nice.
Shot.
Good.
Fair. Real good.
Yeah.
Hold on, Rig.
Do we like this at all?
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think so.
Is this 8?
Yeah.
This is
You want me
8.
to throw the 3, or do you guys like this?
I like this as 8.
Give me a speed, Con.
15.
15?
Yeah.
Derek Semigalski.
Easy early.
Wait's close.
Made a wonderful shot that helped to set up that deuce by Carruthers.
Top 8.
The hit and roll under a corner. All right, let's update Guju and Epping 5-4. The number 1 seed leads, and Mark Nichols is out with brush down.
Well, John Epping was trying to pick that red stone belonging to Brad Gushue on his final, wound up picking his own and rolling out instead. And so all of a sudden now an opportunity for 2.
It's full 4.
Don't know if he comes to the face of his stone, if he'll outcount the one at the back.
Right to it. Line's fine, guys.
Doesn't look heavy.
Right to it.
Go. Yep. Just keep it a little high and you're okay.
Which turn you like?
Stay down. Stay down.
Or just a straight high.
Yeah, that'll do, Kathy. That'll be for 2.
It slowed down just a tad, that one.
It did.
Whoa. Curl.
Whoops.
Yep, and as they all settle,
Sorry, Brad.
it's Carruthers sitting the 1. First final, and the game we started with. Brendan Botcher will pick up 3 and 8 and win it 10-3. So it's the number 2 seed Botcher advances, and we on his side will play the winner of Howard and Dunstone. I said to you, still think it's that 6 when Flasch could have maybe played a draw for a single, elected to go for multiple points, gave up a steal of 2, and it was basically over.
Yeah, he put it on the line there for sure.
What's his call?
He could just end up laying 2 on us.
Yeah, and then we just have to make the, I'd rather it'd be us hitting than him hitting.
Yeah.
But
I think the hit's my least favorite shot.
Yeah, I don't like the hit.
He's got 5 chances
Blank's
for
just
doubles.
such a disaster. 2's fine, right? I think we
Glenn
go.
Howard picks up 1 and 8 to tie 5-5 as they go to the 9th.
I guess unless we go
At
tight.
Dunstone.
Like so that this Flash is
Yeah, but we're just
Out of the
giving
Fort
him
Rouge, the opposition there.
Blank all day. Just has to make 1.
Yeah.
You want to call timeout? This is a big shot here.
Yeah, I'd go timeout.
Timeout. This is
Okay,
a big one. Let's
timeout.
talk about this. This is a big one.
Timeout.
And the conversation will be interesting. Reed goes with his gut. Jason goes by the numbers, the percentages.
He is. He's still the gambler that way, isn't he?
I'm okay with that.
And like that.
When I get to, I'm like, because anything in the house even, like.
Yeah.
You don't like this shot at all?
That's okay. If you're in a guard, it has to be high. Yeah.
We're just basically hoping to delay it a little bit.
We got to delay it some, yeah.
Yeah, we have to try to delay it a little bit, right? If we
that
guard
was-
this side of it, he can't roll under. If he plays the hack waiter and puts
I don't
it
mind the
behind
high
pinhole,
guard. That, like where
right
Con's
here.
going is good.
I think it's a guard or the freeze. I think are the
Yeah.
2 shots.
I think it's a guard, and then if he
But
peels
I-
it, then
I
it's
don't mind
probably
there. Even just dead guard is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice and high, right?
Yeah.
And if he does play the hack waiter, he's behind the pinhole,
Yeah.
we lock it, and like
Okay,
he's
so
always
just play
playing
the
that.
out-turn
We
high
just gotta
guard.
hope
So
he misses
if I
it.
throw high guard and he hits and rolls to reach,
We're
the room,
okay
what are we
with giving
doing?
him 2.
But we're going to
Okay,
guard that. We're
sure.
guarding that.
Okay.
We can give him 2.
Because
We
his
can't
force
give
is
blind.
still on.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, think about where we are in the game. And we saw it in the women's game. We saw it in Colton Flash's win over Carson Sturmey. Are you thinking right now, Kathy, about the extra end and the draw to the button?
You sure are. That's why he's saying we're okay to give him 2. Then we'll take 2 coming home, and then we'll be forced to draw. And unlike the 2 previous draws to the button, in this game, both sides of the sheet have been used a lot. There hasn't been one side that has sat, as was the case when Colton Flasch played in that very first draw to the button.
Clean.
Or in this.
Or the second one
game,
either,
yeah.
with Rachel Holman
Right.
going on to a side that had sat for about a half an hour.
It's much more predictable tonight.
Good spot.
That's a great shot,
spot.
Derek. That's a
Great
great
shot, Derek. Real nice.
Real good, bud.
Interesting play.
Shot, Derek.
Go for a far roll.
Interesting in.
Well, you know, they'd like to force them. That's why they're thinking there. But Cooey could just sit the 2 here.
Gotta go.
He's hoping to blank. Scoring 2's not horrible. But again, you get your 2. Carruthers gets 2. You're drawing to the button for all the marbles. So Cooey wants to find a way to blank.
We're thinking cross it with hack. Like,
What?
we're thinking hack across the face and get.
I know, it's just we've hit everything high side. And if you roll behind the guard, it's
Not good.
not good. Like, I don't see you getting low there.
Don't mind that.
Well, yeah, but if we
Like
miss, they
2/3?
replace it.
Well, there's no real good hit on this, right? I mean,
Unless you can make hack.
I don't think you can roll side 8.
I don't. No, I mean, we haven't really been.
Okay.
Well, it's there.
If you love the rip, I'm game for it.
Well, the rip would be good if
If we
we make it.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
hard.
One of those
2/3,
two.
though. It's
Just if you play to roll and you roll behind the guard,
Right. We're dead.
we're just we're freezing like the blank's gone.
yeah.
But
At least if we play this, the blank's alive.
Oh.
Probably. We have to make it. But.
He's probably throwing one more guard, eh?
yeah, I don't think he hits yet. I
No.
mean, that'll be. I mean, I don't hate you trying it. I think we kind of roll under most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you like?
I think we just try and make the double.
Okay, yeah.
All right, make it, Brad.
I like.
So we guard on the first one.
I like the out turn. Out turn low.
It's just such a low percentage to make this double.
You're out.
You know what you're thinking. If you chase the shot rock and sit 2, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that, it's probably going to be an easy red double, and then you can't blank. Or you roll the wrong way, and Carruthers freezes. So that's why they're.
Hard.
Oh, he snapped his hand away.
Okay.
It was as if he wasn't quite comfortable when he got to the line.
Yes.
Okay.
I like the freeze still better, but I'm trying to talk the freeze.
I don't mind the hit now.
He likes the guard. He just likes the center guard.
Same.
We just got. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Same spot as Derek, right?
Is this getting a little nutty here?
You know, the guard was
It's a
so
weird
long,
format, man.
Russ.
I like it.
I don't really know.
I
Yeah,
don't really
on
know.
purpose.
No, I understand. So, I mean, would it be so bad for Cooey to play in? That stone is back of the tee line. I understand. You know, you get in there, now it becomes a 4-foot game. And he may be even tough to get his deuce. But I don't know, as you say, the run back was really tough.
If they were able to hit the shot rock and overroll, like sneak by the guard, long guard, hit it and roll way away and stop the red double, then that would have been the right call. But I don't think they had enough room to do that. It's an interesting situation.
Hey, line's good.
Hey, this is a little hot.
Stay
More
with
than
it.
Oh, he's got the
Line,
feeling,
make it
Kathy.
good line.
Cooey is saying, I'm in trouble unless I get my deuce.
Well, he would love a blank, is what he would love. And I think that's part of the reason that he played that guard in. If he was able to pick that stone out, that stays in there. Does not want to have to take one.
For sure. He's not going to.
Well, now, what's changed? Now he's looking at going after that stone.
Just that much later in the end.
Okay.
It sounds funny, but he can roll away. He can still get forced here. I'm not saying this is the perfect solution either. But you don't want to give up a steal either.
Whoa, girl. Gotta go, Brad. You gotta go. Gotta go.
Hard, Brad.
Try to go in the yellow cart. Cart.
Sit.
All the way around.
Yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay.
So that's the issue, Vic. Now Carruthers sits 2, and at this point, unless there's a bit of a gift,
I've thrown both. I've thrown a
he's
couple
not going to
of
be
each.
able to blank.
I'm seeing just easy and make sure we stick.
With which turn? Sorry.
Out.
Okay, that's the only one I haven't seen. Like, seen
Okay,
this easy and this normal.
Okay, easy in.
Defer to the thrower here. Smart. Reed said, let's play the out. Gunner hadn't seen that, so why not play the one he's comfortable with? He's the important guy here. Soft weight. Don't have to make the double. You just have to stay in the 8-foot.
Jason Gunlickson.
Heavy.
Clean.
Close. Weight's good.
Clean.
Close.
Yep.
Easy. Whoa.
Yep.
Close, Ram. Got a curl.
Clean.
Got a curl.
Line.
Straight. Line.
Pavelski, late. Got it. Oh, he held still them both.
Good line call, Ram.
Atta boy. Great shot. Atta boy, Jay.
Top 8.
Okay.
Do you think, Kathy, thinking again about drawing to the button in an extra, would Cooey ever let him have a steal of 1? Try to get the deuce for the win. In 10, have that hammer.
It's a great question.
Thanks.
Line's good.
I have no answer.
I
think it's not a bad idea, to be really honest with you.
Absolutely. If you're, and we're back to the good old. Do
Might need a curl
you want to
there.
be one up without, or one down with?
And in this case, because of the draw to the button, I think that there'd be a lot of people feeling more comfortable with that last rock to try to score 2.
No question.
Sorry. It's a hair hard.
Perfect shot if that's 2 feet lighter. Just over curled because of the depth. Guard's so long, Reedy can get at this. Yeah, I can see Kevin giving up a steal here.
What do you throw in there? You think? Same as the other side? Maybe? Same as the other intern?
I don't think I've filmed this draw, actually.
No, same as this.
Oh, I see. A hair
It's kinda
faster.
green. Okay.
Just barely.
The draw to the button really favors the team that's losing because they could play that out if whoever's down 1 here doesn't have to get 2.
As we play skip stones, what do we got here? Dunstone, Howard, 5-5 tie, and final stone, Matt Dunstone coming up.
Opportunity to draw for 2. Glenn Howard faced 2 on his final hit and tried to roll under, but rolled too far. So it is that stone at the full 8, almost the 4-foot already shot for Matt, looking for full 8 for the second point.
Throwing a 93% game is Matt Dunstone.
Line's good, guys.
Line's real nice. Yep. Line's good. Gotta go, guys. Line's good. Can't hurt it. Can't hurt it. Can't hurt it.
What do you got, though?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this, boys.
2 red.
2 red it is.
It's been a well-curled game. A lot of
Dunstone
tough
takes
shots.
the lead. 3 seed, lead 6.
Based on that, because that was the hardest.
One of my yellows.
Yeah, if he sticks it, we throw in the house and just make him take 2.
Yeah. But we could be line 2.
Whoa. Girl.
Can he get them all?
Girl, go, go, go.
1, 2, come across. Oh gosh,
Yes,
he
he
did.
can.
Look at this. Kevin Cooey.
Wow.
I didn't hear the call. It looked like they were lined up, but it didn't seem like they were committed to do it, but they were. Look at that.
This might be worth playing, hey? Like the run, blank? I don't know. Any kind of blank.
Yeah. I think with this format,
That's all you're getting.
down one, up one.
Inch more.
Probably. Don't feel very good up one.
Yeah, that's exactly what my point was, Vic. You down one, it makes more sense because you can hopefully make your last one if all else fails and you're into the draw off. If you're down one, somebody makes a deuce on you, you don't get that opportunity.
Right.
Easy early. Easy early. You can wait. You can wait.
This has to be buried, and you don't want it too deep where Cooey can chase it and roll out.
Gonna have to
Getting
curl.
better, Derek. Give it a couple. Give it a couple, Derek. Line's good.
How's the weight?
Line's good. Derek.
Hold
Derek
12.
is just in the house.
Curl
Easy.
go.
Just Derek. Whoa. 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 Last couple. It's going to be the last
Curl.
couple.
Curl.
Go harder. Great shot.
Pretty good.
Well, around he goes, and he's buried. Is there enough there to show him?
There's a jam here this side.
Cooey
right?
would never try this in a normal game. He'd draw for one, but if he misses it, he's one down. Just needs that one to go to the draw to the button, two to win. If he can make this, his odds become much better than that 50%. It's possible. The one he made was harder.
Yeah, and I got the curl early. Control.
Saw Tyler Tardy just check over his shoulder because there is that stone.
Close.
That's just outside the rings at around 8 o'clock or so. So just I don't know if it's possible to jam it, but he did check it out.
Straight.
Now watch this go, and a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Take it, one more turn, one more turn. Oh, and it's going to spin back.
Made it too good. You heard Kevin yell straight at the end.
Great shooting, Ram. You made 2 peaches.
And you also heard him say, I don't feel too comfortable being one up.
No question.
That's where he is.
Cooey leads it by 1. Carruthers will have the last draw coming home. And we have our second final. And Brad Guju will pick up the win 8-4 over John Epping. And so the #1 seed is through. All smiles for sure. They are, I would say now, with no Fredericton teams left, they are the favorite among the fans here at Willy O'Ree as Guju gets by Epping. Now waits to see who he will play, either Carruthers or Cooey in the Final Four. Botcher's also counting on advance from the other half of the bracket. Look at that, man. He hasn't changed at all. Donovan Bailey is here, and he will be part of a celebrity game this evening. 100 meters, 4x100. You just can't wear those sprinter spikes. I hope he knows that. That's you're not going to go very far.
Icemakers don't like that.
Mind you, see, he's used to a hack.
Starting
blocks.
Oh,
well done.
Hey, starting blocks, hack.
Well, he's going to be at the hog line before he knows it, I'll tell you that.
Get Gunlickson to throw a peel, see if he can outrun it.
Yeah, wouldn't that be funny? Down the... yeah.
Oh, what great moments he brought, though. Boy, oh boy.
Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Samigalski, 1-2. Oh, he stuffed it.
Great shot. Great shot,
So
Derek.
he'll leave it there. But it rolls over to cover that second shot, top of the 12.
Derek's made some sneaky good shots.
Yeah, very
this
much
game.
so, yeah.
He's double guarded that thing.
And he made a big shot in that 8th that led to a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Hit and roll.
It's going to be easy to get rid of.
Tight guard. Where are we going for line? Yeah.
For like 3/4 under? Okay.
Brad Thiessen.
Whoa, we're there.
Looks heavy.
We're there, yeah.
Tight's tight.
Weight's,
Just tight.
weight's good.
We're not in. Tight. Real tight.
It's roomy.
Hard. Just a good tight.
Hard. Yes.
Come on, Car. Come on, Car.
Whoa.
Whoa. It's good.
Whoa.
Whoa, it's good. Good shot, Brad.
It's just if we make something here, we're just dead.
I was almost thinking overbearing it so that they can't make that shot.
And they hit the one in the house.
Yeah, that's...
No. Just didn't sit up and
It's hard to get in the rings.
You got your safe one.
Okay.
Out turn. Just smooth.
I like what Gunlickson said there to Reed. We've got our safe one, meaning that yellow one on the corner that can go in the scoreboard. It's buried. It's so they're saying it's safe because it's buried. So clean up the middle here. Work on that too.
Curl. Whoa, curl. Go over top.
Don't sit on it.
Oh, look out.
Okay, that's good, Derek.
Good shot, Derek.
What do you got of that?
That's a great shot, Derek.
They can play that red raise now, I think, Vic.
And now it's gone. And so what do you do if you're
It's great.
Carruthers?
Yeah, bad break, really. Yeah, he's still got rocks. He's still got corner guards to use. He can even go around the shot rock if he had to. But that was a bad break.
Got to be fairly tight.
Tyler Tardy.
Yep. Yes. Real hard.
Hard, Brad. Come on.
Decent.
Dig.
Hard. You got to keep going hard.
Stay with it. Oh, and he'll crash on that guard.
Where's that going, though?
That could be your second point. If it just pops out that wide out turn side.
If they roll out, it's pretty good.
Boy, that's not good. That was just underthrown, I think. A bit of frost out there, maybe.
Hitting it, rolling it back.
Hit and roll Connor's way?
I think so.
I think we're rolling this way. I don't like that.
thought
No.
was-
Because then he draws around.
And a roll out's better than sticking. Yeah, exactly.
This is good.
I played easier quite a few times.
I don't agree with rolling out here as better than sticking because Kui might go right around that corner guard on the right
Try
side.
to roll just outside the 4-foot line, right?
Not a simple raise.
Heavy. Curl.
Easy.
Heavy.
Curl.
Heavy. Curl.
Negative.
More Connor, go.
With it all the way. Now, where?
Nice shot, Jay.
Good.
Great sweep, Connor.
Great shot, buddy. Great shot. Attaboy. Good sweep.
Yeah.
You made that one.
He doesn't have tons of that yellow.
There's no. What else you looking at?
That's all I see.
It.
It's back here.
Yeah, that's the call.
Yeah, just T-line, back T.
Back. Lost then? Yeah.
14, we want to be at least
14. Yeah.
I thought it was there.
So ironic, Vic, because Kui could have missed his last shot on purpose the last end and been one up or one down in the situation Carruthers is in, which should be a lot more comfortable. He made a great shot but didn't get his shooter out.
Sit.
And has to sit down for a shot and will slide to the back 12. Sitting for second shot.
I think that's the only shot, yeah.
Top 8, yeah.
Like, hold on. Like,
Bite the 4 for depth.
Okay.
85, yeah.
Bite the 4 for depth, right?
Yeah.
Scoot close. Worried what?
Okay, they're okay, we're okay.
Let me know.
Wait's close.
Easy,
Line's
don't kill
good.
it, Derek. Don't kill him with heavy.
I think we're a little late.
Looks hot. Line's
No,
good
wait's
though.
pretty good.
Wait's good, guys. Wait's good.
Line's good. Derek's rock.
Okay. Half of the 8.
Derek's rock.
Half the 8.
Fight the 4.
Trying to hold it up is Derek Samagalski.
Yep. Yep. To my room. To my room.
Oh, good spot.
Attaboy, Jay. Nice pair.
Great job, guys. Great judge.
The only thing I'm scared about doing, he's drawing around.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you can get there for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm a guard. Like we could have, what if we would have went?
A little more.
Nice spot.
Well, when you think about it, Cooey with that early 3-0 lead, but it is the 9th. You know, you're playing for the blank, and he just wasn't able to get the shooter out, and that's the difference in a well-played game between both skips. Game story brought to you by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of Curling Canada.
I think that's enough ice though. That's close. Just behind the tee, even back 4-ish. Yeah, close but not heavy.
Line's good. Where are you? A little late.
Skip Stones.
Okay.
Line's great.
Line of
Kevin Cooey with his first. All right, here we go.
Where are you?
Looking for a couple is Howard to force a draw to the button.
Well, Matt Dunstone had the opportunity to hit and stick in line 2 to force Glenn to make a big double, but he tried to end the game making a double himself and did not make it. This means it's a wide open hit for 2 and the tie.
And there we go. So Howard will get his 2 in 10. And now we will go to a draw to the button in the extra for the win, for the $6,000 and a chance to advance to the Final Four.
Matt had a pretty makeable double there, and that's one of his specialties.
Fly 3 here, eh?
Yeah.
Kind of lean towards Glenn now on the draw to the button.
Yeah, I got 15-3 on
Matt
Jay's.
gets to play his own turn.
Yeah, he'll get the choice of turn, and also forces Howard to go first.
Past the red, half tucked is real good.
Okay, sounds good. Good talk.
Looking like 15-1 here.
Yep.
Okay, bud. Nice positive throw.
Okay, well,
Max
a little
line
hot.
moment.
Top 4.
Little hot.
Max line.
Not bad.
Stay
Heavy.
near me.
Wait's close.
Max line.
Little hot.
Max weight, guys.
Where are we?
Trying.
Stay
T-line.
near it.
Gotta
T-line.
stop.
Please stay near.
T-line.
Gotta stop.
Please stay near.
It should slow down on this side.
Curl and go.
Oh.
Beauty.
Good spot.
Good call, Jay.
Okay. Great throw, bud.
Timeout.
Timeout called by
would've been
Cooey.
nice if I go by.
Just lock it a little high.
Draw
So
the
hang on, button. boy. I'm gonna get shot.
Okay.
You,
That's my rock.
Yeah, but
We can't let him blast his
And that's just
2-3.
roll here. He's got to draw the 4-foot.
well, the freeze makes it.
it's harder
Same.
than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it worth playing this?
Yeah.
It's got to be perfect line.
Yeah. We've played this a lot. Like we know it.
I mean, did he make this draw easy in 8? I didn't see.
No, he was full back 4.
He's back 4, but
And he just made it. Yeah. That's wider. I think we want to make him throw it.
Draw it?
Yeah.
What do you like?
What's that?
What do you like? What do I need to get shot? I got to get it to about there?
Yeah. I think you might just get back.
So we'll just slide next door.
Shall I
This
get
is
to go?
interesting now because of the hammer situation. It would have been Dunstone's last rock. He gets the choice of turn. He's going to play the in turn, and it also forces now Howard to play the out turn. Interestingly enough, it's going to be Scott Howard to throw with Glenn holding the brush.
And I think that that's
Really
because
gotta go,
Glenn
boys.
has been playing hits for the last number of ends, where Scott has been playing draws.
Come on, Dave.
And picked up early by David Mathers and Tim
Gotta
March.
go, boys.
It's inside the pass.
And Mathers, March will stay with it, and they'll come
Gotta
up
go.
light. Top edge, 12.
Now, what you want to do now, if you're Dunstone, is take enough ice, stay out of the middle. We saw that with the Holman game too.
$14.5.
I got it.
See you, bet. Give you what I have been.
Oh, man, he gets that by. He's good.
Well, for Matt Dunstone, it's a nice position to be in. All you need is full 12. But as you say, Russ, you just want to make sure that you're out far enough that you're not getting into that center path that we see teams get caught time after time again.
Aim
as
for
it
the edge of the
flattens out.
4-foot type thing. Yep.
100% on straws so far today in the game. At
That's
Dunstone.
Well, anything
Ryan
better
Harden,
than
Colton Lott
176.
on the draw. And that'll be good enough to advance. Matt Dunstone is moving on.
Big game, guys. Big game for me.
8-7 the final.
Attaboy.
Game, Davey. Game, Penny.
Attaboy, Colty.
Attaboy. Good job. Attaboy. Good job.
The boys.
So that stone you see there, the red stone, is the last thrown by Kevin Cooey.
Clean. Hard.
Just clean.
Reed
Clean.
Carruthers
Clean it. Clean
needing
it.
2 for the win.
Beauty round. Clean it.
Beauty it is.
job, man.
Up goes the brushes. And it will be Reed Carruthers who is a winner over Cooey. So Carruthers moves on as he knocks off the number 4 seed.
Well, and I think the frustration for Kevin will go back to the discussion in that 9th end. Maybe you throw it away. Just let Reed Carruthers take his point, have that hammer coming home. And some great shot making by the team Carruthers in this final 10th end.
So now we do know our final 4. And Gushue will play Carruthers. Dunstone will play Botcher. So the country well represented with Gushue from Newfoundland and Labrador, Carruthers out of Morris, Manitoba, Dunstone from Fort Rouge, and of course Botcher from Calgary. Time for some autographs on this Friday in Fredericton.
The 2022 PointsBet Invitational is brought to you in part by PointsBet, proud partner of Curling Canada, by New Holland, proud sponsor of Curling Canada, by Kruger Products, the softest and strongest supporters for over 40 years, and by Home Hardware. Here's how.
Autographs from a couple of Manitoba champions. In fact, a Canadian champion when you think about Reed Carruthers and his time with Jeff Stoughton. So we're down now to the final 4 on both sides. And the women's final 4 lines up this way with Christy Moore skipping the Scheidegger team out of Lethbridge against Caitlin Laws, and Carrie Anderson will play Jennifer Jones. And Jones, of course, skipping the team of the Canadian junior champions, Mackenzie Zacharias. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 11 Atlantic. So what a day it's been. Some interesting curling, to say the least. Botcher looking good. Flasch gambled and lost. Cooey maybe made the wrong decision. Couldn't roll the shooter out in 9. And so he's done. Till we talk with you again tomorrow, thank you for joining us. The PointsBet Invitational from Fredericton on Canada's Sports Leader, TSN.